Yeah.
Oh, there you go. I just clicked on my picture.
And now we're live. Hey, folks, how's it going? Welcome to our little music chat this evening. This all started off by, I think Johnny started this one off.
It's John's fault.
I'm sorry, guys. Well, then, can I say why I started the conversation on Twitter? I just came across some pretty disturbing facts and articles about some bands that I've adored my whole life. I'm talking about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, how long it took them to get in. And I started like asking just people around, like, what does it take to get in, and who's in and who's not in, and I don't know, just a whole bunch of stuff that.
That's how I got involved.
Yeah.
Yes. If I knew anybody that got snubbed.
And it's a pretty. It's not just if obviously as you guys looked further into the hall, like the people, the inductees and stuff like that, you guys started getting pissed. Yeah. Imagine how these artists feel, because I've watched 3 acceptance speeches from artists who actually despise the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and they have probably the most classic speeches. I think the most classic one I've watched on YouTube is Alec Lifeson from Rush, which was amazing. You guys seen that?
I didn't see that.
Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah.
Holy smokes, I love it, man. That's so cool. Basically, that sums up the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame to the majority. I'm not going to speak for everyone. I'm sure a lot of guys, they're proud. Deep down inside, they're proud that they're in there. But I think it sums up a lot of the guys, how they actually feel about not just the hall itself, but just the process and whose ass are you supposed to kiss to get in, I guess. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah. The horse and pony show that makes up the whole process, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. I don't know if you, and also if you kind of want to be, snotty about the whole thing. If it's rock and roll isn't about, for me anyway, it's not about, putting the medal on your chest kind of a thing. It's going out, playing the music, enjoying that, getting across whatever it is that you want to get across, that sort of thing. So I don't know. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is very not rock and roll, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean,
I've always
kind
said
of
the same thing.
I don't know. I think
the fact that it's what it is. Like I don't know if you guys have been there.
I have.
I
have.
Okay.
No.
But I would rather it just be more like it's a museum of cool rock and roll shit.
Yeah, it is a museum. Yeah.
Shit, not even rock and roll stuff, but just like memorabilia. But being that it's a Hall of Fame, you have all this bullshit that we're going to get into.
Yeah.
Right.
The first time I went, I was like, wow, this is incredible. I was obviously younger. I was 19 years old the first time I went to Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
My wife is throwing shit at me. Like hair ties. She's just flinging hair ties at me. Sorry, guys.
And as I got older and just seeing that my favorite bands weren't being honored or actually being snubbed on purpose, because there is politics on some bands that they basically said, you know what, you're not going to get in only when I say so. Like that. There's actually that goes on.
Yeah.
Then that's when I only used it just to go to the bathroom and left when I'm in Cleveland. So there's a picture of me. There's a picture. My wife has a picture of me doing something to the to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So yeah, I've been obsessed with this sort of thing for a while. It's just I noticed you guys. I have, as much as I have a lot of friends that are into comics on here. It's like, and I just like, obviously you guys love toys. I mean, toys. Oops. Music as well. So it's like, damn, man. Why not bring it up to you guys?
Yeah, no, music has always been a big thing for me. More so than comics, actually. And hey, Terrence.
Hi, how's it going, everybody?
Good.
Everybody.
Good evening, Terrence.
Hello, Mr. DaCosta.
Terrence Trent Darby.
I've never heard that before. That's
Not in.
Terrence, you have to.
Yes.
I give everyone nicknames. So.
Oh, you did. Okay, good.
Yeah. Okay.
What did I miss? Have you done trashing the man yet, or what have I missed?
No, we literally just started like 4 minutes ago. Yeah, we were just talking about. Go ahead.
Right. So the process, right, to get into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, at least as Wikipedia is telling us, is that there is a group that nominates 5 to 12 people a year to go into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and then there's 600 ballots that get put out to the special people to vote them in, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now there is fan participation. When did that start, John? Because you mentioned something about that.
Yeah, it did. It actually started in 2014.
Okay.
And the year they implemented the fan vote, Kiss finally made it to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
They also went more than 5 that year.
And
More than 5 inductees that year.
but this trend, I shouldn't say trend. Actually, should have been, the fans should have had a say since the beginning of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Agreed.
Personally, I think so, because they're the ones who actually make or break these bands. It's not the fucking critics, because a lot of the bands, you guys obviously were going to get to the bands that the critics aren't too fond of, and But anyways, as soon as the fans got involved, you saw the bands with the big fan base. Like Kiss got in. The year after, Rush, and Rush is a band that it's actually not supposed to be cool. You know what I mean? They have a huge fan base. It's like Grateful Dead, same shit. The Deadheads. So, you're gonna start seeing bands like that get in. I think more like the bands that inspired people like me to pick up a fucking drumstick and want to play. And I'm sure Kiss has inspired many musicians out there to pick up a guitar and stuff like that. Even though they're not the best, but not in my eyes as a kid, they were my heroes.
So, sorry, maybe I missed this already, but what before, I know Travis was saying earlier to us when we were talking about it, what are the criteria that they look for? They look for sales. What are the...
I don't know.
It doesn't say.
It doesn't say.
Oh, okay.
Nowhere does it tell us. Nowhere does it tell us what those 600 people look at. I mean, first off, what are the committee when they're picking people? The only rule we know there is you have to be 25 years past your first
record.
Album
first
release,
record. So that's
okay.
So that's the only known criteria that we know of, and there isn't anything that lists what it is that nominating committee selects 9 to a dozen candidates. What it is that makes them decide that, and then the 600 rock-esque experts. What does that mean? I don't know.
And you're not alone, Travis, because when you see these musicians go up and induct these bands, they're left there scratching their heads. Why did it take so long? They don't even know what the criteria is. We look like I mentioned in our tweet, our whatever message thing that we did.
Mm-hmm.
It's if I were to judge, it's obviously impact, influence.
Yeah.
It should
right?
be.
For me, that would be number one. Yeah.
Commercial success. Obviously, you got to sell albums. You got to sell out arenas.
Right.
Obviously, or else what the fuck are you gonna? There's no point. Like that's rock and roll. Status when you achieve that status when you're selling out. 50,000, 20,000 people stadiums. But seriously, impact, influence. What else did I say? Success, like commercial success, I guess. But I think those are the main things, right?
Yeah.
Originality, trailblazers.
Yeah, I was just gonna say
right?
like innovation, like doing something not necessarily different, but moving the genre forward.
Like you don't necessarily have to be old. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be like Chuck Berry or
25 years.
Little Richard. Like Nirvana. I think they kind of deserve the first ballot in. You know what I mean?
I'll agree with that.
For that movement they started. You know what I mean?
I'm not gonna agree with Pearl Jam though.
No.
That's bullshit. I'm sorry. I'm throwing it out there already.
No, I don't agree either. Why there's guys here that are 26 years waiting to get in and they get in. Like, nah, man. I'm sorry, but whatever.
Coltrane. All I gotta say, Coltrane.
Oh, there's tons. There's tons. I got tons here, guys.
Kidding me?
Not even Coltrane. There's how about Frank Sinatra?
Well, I know there's a lot.
How about Frank Sinatra?
Well,
right.
What qualifies as rock and roll?
Yeah, I know, but
I
okay.
get it,
Does Madonna qualify as rock and roll and get in on the first ballot?
NWA.
Well, I guess
Tupac.
Rock and Roll Hall of Fame falls under pop music, right?
Okay, I agree. Yeah,
is that? I mean, because then that allows Frank Sinatra to get a vote, in my opinion, because clearly Frank's heyday was not during the era of rock and roll, really.
No.
Really.
Well,
But-
neither was Coltrane.
Right. Or Miles Davis. I see Miles
But
Davis.
Miles Davis is in.
Or
Right.
or Duke Ellington, Ella Fitzgerald,
Yeah.
Charlie Parker.
The whole thing's a farce.
Yeah,
It really is.
Charlie Parker, man. Charlie
be
Parker,
honest.
really. Like that's. I actually.
That's
just
it.
felt like
Chat over. Done.
It's right.
I just got a pain in my chest from saying Charlie Parker.
Thanks for watching.
Dizzy. Here are some additional notable candidates who deserve consideration because of their influence. Oh my God, Dizzy Gillespie. I know I'm naming jazz, but
Jazz. I mean, yeah, but that's not.
Jazz is a big thing, though.
but
Well, it
really,
is. But is it? Does it? I mean, we're fans, but does it?
I know.
Does it
That's
fit
the
in
problem.
rock and roll? I mean, that's
Yeah.
Okay. These
Well,
guys, those guys I named
I guess-
off. Those guys I named off. Are you telling me that rock and roll, like people that are in like rock bands, they were never influenced by those musicians?
Oh no, I'm not saying that at all.
But it's that
And
like
even so, if you take those people that we were just talking about, the time that they came about, jazz was more rock and roll than anything else coming out.
thank you.
Oh, sure.
Right?
Yeah, for sure. But I think, you know,
Well, there's a laundry list of blues players that should fill
Oh,
the rock
I-
and roll Hall of
I
Fame
agree with
before
that, too.
anybody else
like
fills the
every
rock and roll Hall
single
of Fame.
one of them.
Exactly, because half the stuff that those early guys that are in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame did, if it wasn't literally just redoing those guys' song at a quicker tempo, it was
Yeah,
awfully
Robert
damn
Johnson.
close. If they weren't literally copying it, they were changing 3 words so they could say they wrote it instead of somebody else wrote it, kind of a
Right.
thing. I mean, large chunks of all that Stones, Beatles, Zeppelin, all that stuff is
Oh,
all,
yeah. Well, you can't.
is all robbed
Well,
from
see,
Willie Dixon.
I mean, if you went,
you know.
yeah. I mean, if you want to talk about like the early guys like Eric Clapton and Beatles and Stones, as far as
Fuck.
rock and roll as we know it is concerned.
I'm sorry. I just saw something on the list here. Green Day got in.
Day one, bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
We were talking about that
Fucking-
before we
It's like-
started.
Dead
Next year-
Kennedys are still waiting to get in for 13
Yeah,
years or something like that now. What the
Yeah,
fuck?
but-
I'm starting to see it.
Husker Du?
Yeah.
But I mean,
Well,
there's
Come on now.
Can you
there's
see
the big there's
can you
the big
see-
problem, right?
Can you see Brafa accepting a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame award?
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Man, the last few years have been just like, holy smokes, pretty lame. It's
Well-
just
The last couple of years.
yeah. I think the last couple of years have been just I don't know. Is this a hint of things to come? It's gonna.
Well,
oh man.
you also got to figure that everything's going to get watered down as it goes forward, right? Because there are
Yeah.
a lot more nameable rock and roll bands now than there was 25 years ago, let alone 50 years ago, right? I mean, because of the age of internet and globalization,
Well,
We can-
I mean, here's the thing. I'm coming across now. Is I'm getting older. Like I just did this list just for the fuck of it myself the other day. Is like albums that came out 20 years ago,
oh God.
and I'm looking at the list, and it's things like Offspring, and
Yeah.
here I actually have it, like Silverchair, Offspring, Elliott Smith, the Boss Tones, Ben Folds 5, Pennywise, Foo Fighters, like all these. This is 20 years ago. So if you say 25 years ago, that's
Right.
these bands too.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? You're going to come across all these bands 25 years ago that are, I mean, Foo Fighters is basically, I mean, I love them. They're probably one of my favorite bands of all time, but they're cookie cutter Nirvana.
Not really.
Yeah,
I think he separated himself
Yeah.
now,
way.
when he
makes
first started, if
Yeah.
you go back to the first self-titled album,
Well, but
Yeah.
that first sub,
That's
that
hard
first
to do though.
It
that
was
first
fresh.
album was a side project he was dicking around with, and then it
Yes.
became a thing because
oh, I know.
and
people
that's
died.
Yeah,
If people would
yeah.
have died, it would still be this dumb side. I mean, the side project. It wouldn't be
exactly that Foo Fighters album, that first one with
smear and
Stick Around and whatever.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's like a sound of the times. Everything sounded like that.
I know but that's exactly what I'm saying. If you go 25 years, like everything was
So
that sound.
So it doesn't that
So you
mean
don't get
it's
much innovation or anything like that as far as
I
movie-
don't know.
So-
Really?
So doesn't that mean that it's fair that only one of those bands of that sound gets in? Not all of them.
Yeah, I
So
agree.
then it's a matter. Then it's a matter of
Okay, then Soundgarden gets in. That's it.
Fuck that. Fuck that. Fuck it. Nope.
There you go.
I'm kidding.
There you go.
Nope.
I'm all
Can I
for
kick
it.
you off this? Can
Hey,
I kick you off this?
Scott, we're just playing devil's advocate here. We have to.
You can't.
I know,
make it
I'll fuck
interesting.
Well,
We're just playing.
I
But
wasn't.
I know,
I wasn't
I know.
joking off air when I said that I don't understand why Kiss is in there. So,
you don't understand.
You don't understand why Kiss
oh,
was-
I understand, but I don't think musically they merit being there any more than a 6 or 7 dozen other bands.
I don't know about that one.
Holy
They
smokes,
were,
Travis.
they were a huge influence. If you go just on like influence alone,
That's what
those
I
guys
said.
were enormous.
It took
Okay.
them 14 years, Travis. Aren't you happy? It took them 14 years
Yes,
to get in.
I am, and part of me is deeply entertained that Pearl Jam got
But-
in the first year. You know why?
Ugh.
Because I got really tired of listening to Gene Simmons
Hold on a
bitch
second,
and
let me
moan
get
about-
comfortable here.
bitch and moan about the fact that
Okay.
bitch and moan about the fact that my era that I love of music, they were uncool because they just showed up on stage wearing their street clothes and played music and didn't put on a rock and roll show. And my opinion to that, to Kiss and that is, fuck you. You know,
No,
those guys
there it is.
were there for the music. They weren't there to
Yeah.
wear high heels and have makeup and stick their tongues out. So
And
That tongue is
refire and
enormous.
spit blood.
okay, it's
that tongue
granted,
itself
that's all
is
cool
worthy.
shit. That's all cool
Kiss was
shit.
not
But,
cool. Kiss was
but
not
I-
cool.
but I'd rather have Guar do it, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, well, there you go. There's that.
No, I
Valid
just
argument.
it's for vindication. I think
Sure.
it took 14 years for him to
Oh.
come in.
Well, 100%.
So as soon as they put the Hall of Fame says, okay, fine. We're gonna let the fans have a say. And right away they all spoke up and said, fuck you, we're putting Kiss in. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Right.
oh yeah, and they deserve to be. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm joking. And they are
I
the
know.
they are the epitome of the rock and roll show. You know, they really are. I mean, but I think it's gonna get. I think it's gonna get the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is gonna become more watered down and more weird as time goes on anyway, because that whole delineation of the factors, you know, who can now that fans can vote, now it's who can muster the biggest fan base, not
Justin
Mhm.
Bieber get in.
right, exactly.
Oh fuck.
Oh God,
It's-
no! Oh,
It's
God.
coming. It's coming.
Why?
You
Coming,
know,
yeah.
and the Backstreet Boys and
When is the
Sure.
last time that anybody paid attention to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame before we started talking about it amongst ourselves? Like, have any of you
well,
even paid
I-
it?
I
as I said off the air, I
we're
didn't-
talking about it.
I
I
do
don't-
follow it.
I don't pay
Oh,
attention
do
to
you?
it at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only because
I did.
I started going to Cleveland when I met my wife, and then I started getting involved with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I just, and then the part I remember I got back in when the Beastie Boys got inducted. I was really happy to see
Right.
that.
Right? Yeah.
I was
Yep,
excited
I remember
to see
that.
that. Stuff like that. Sometimes when it's like someone I really love, that kind of triggers my interest again, and then I'll fall back out of it's like fuck. The whole
Yeah.
thing
Yeah,
sucks.
I was actually Travis and I like we were talking. We were off air and we were talking, and the last one I remember that I was really involved in was 2011 when Tom Waits got inducted.
Oh yeah.
I don't
Because
remember
that was
that.
That was a big one for me.
I don't
I
remember
loved
that.
him. I
Yeah.
still do.
So Tom Waits is in, but Beefheart isn't. Beastie
Right.
Boys
Right,
is in,
exactly.
but Bad Brains aren't. That's just madness.
Yeah.
Madness.
Bad
Madness.
Brains. There's an issue with. I think there's an issue with Bad Brains.
Of course there is.
Yeah,
There's
there
an
is.
issue with all the bands, like the ones that should
Right.
be in there. Of course there is, and that's the delineation, right? Like
But-
That's the
we're talking
problem.
about mainstream, and then we're talking about
Uh,
stuff that actually had a fucking impact. Plus
Yeah.
politically, and I know the history with Bad Brains, and the
Yeah.
kind of everything involving. But still, if you look
I know.
at like American hardcore music as a genre, Bad Brains, like 90% of those bands cite Bad Brains as the influence that got them playing that
Oh, yeah.
music and getting in there. You know what I mean? So if we're gonna talk about a real Hall of Fame and a real people who really deserve it, it's bands like that. But again, we all know that it's more a mainstream kind of
Bands that had balls.
rules and regulations.
They had fucking balls, man. That band scares the shit of me. They scare
Yeah.
the shit of
Oh
me.
yeah.
Like Rastafarians fucking playing heavy metal, like
Yeah.
punk rock. That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, are they a CBGB's band?
Yes.
I'm sure they
Well,
played
not
it, but
not
they
the
were,
original.
Yeah.
Yeah, not. Yeah. Let me rephrase. Not the original wave of CBGBs.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like,
They came right after, like the next generation.
Yeah.
okay.
Like, like Black Flag and
Oh, okay.
That era.
Yeah, there's a American Hardcore is the documentary, and if you haven't seen it, you should
Yeah,
see
I'm
that
gonna check it out.
for the history
I'll
of all
check
that
it
kind of
out.
stuff. It's really, really good. Anyway,
sorry guys, I was gonna say Journey is the band this year
Oh,
that got in with the fan votes.
Hey, don't
God,
stop
why?
believing.
Say what you will about that.
I will
uh
say what I
what
will.
would you call that? That you're gonna see a huge
Terrible?
you're gonna see a huge spike in that 80s progressive rock.
oh shit, yeah,
It's gonna start
Wait, you just called Journey progressive rock.
80s.
That's because they had more. That's because they had more than three band members, so they have to be progressive, right?
And they
Oh
probably
my
had a
God.
synth or two, didn't
Okay,
they? Yeah.
hold on. Let me see. Okay, whatever. The Nickelback and Creed of the 80s. Let's put
Oh
it
Jesus!
that's what they are. But you're gonna see more of that. Like the band, Yes is going in, right? That's
Mhm.
Yeah.
the same. I have a soft spot for ELO because of Jeff Lynne. Love that man. I think he's a fantastic musician, and it was also my best friend's favorite band, and he introduced me to ELO because he was the keyboardist. And he wanted to play guitar and drums. His parents said no, so he took up the keyboard and he fell in love with ELO because it was like fucking rock, and the keyboard's like a forefront instrument in that band, and there's an orchestra, and he was all into that stuff. So I kind of have a soft spot for them because I think Jeff Lynne is fucking fantastic. That man's like a musical genius. So I'm cool with ELO.
Mm,
They have like friggin' 20 hits, man, singles.
Yeah.
So
Well, and that's like you guys were saying already. That's the thing. Like now the floodgates are open, and now there's
yeah.
this resurgence in '80s and stuff. All of that is just gonna
Yeah.
go in. And I mean, ultimately, how many of these bands like consider it an honor anymore? You know what I mean?
Right.
It's one of those things. Like it's like the joke I was making about the Oscars. Like you either make a real impact and you do an impact, or you have a band that influences people, or you just get kind of put up on a pedestal for the promotion of this, that, and the other thing. And here you go. Here's your honorary title, you know?
Well, the real bummer is, I feel like what's happening also is clearly there's, I mean, I think there's a certain level of pride in getting into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I mean, I don't see how, I mean, unless you're really, really bitter, you know, you celebrate that in some sense. It's a nice thing to add to your laundry list of things, titles that get added to your name or whatever. So now what we have happening is you've got people who are nominated out shilling for their, from their fans to try and get votes, which is kind of a bummer. For me,
have you seen that? Is that happen?
Yes. Yeah. I am a huge Jane's Addiction fan.
Yeah.
I absolutely love them. Nothing Shocking is probably my favorite album ever. And I don't say that lightly because I listen to a lot of music, and it's really hard for me to pick number one anything. Of course,
I'm surprised actually.
And they're setting in. They're setting in the but yeah, I mean, I follow them on Facebook. I mean, I don't follow the band so much anymore because clearly they are not, they are not in their heyday. But they certainly spend a certain amount of time going, hey, don't forget, we're nominated. It'd be great if you voted for us. I mean, they're not
really,
they're not going nuts, but they still are, because there's some dollar value, I'm sure.
Well,
yeah.
Dave Navarro needs his.
I'm surprised they give a single shit about it.
Dave Navarro needs his.
So am I, to be quite honest. I mean, in the past they wouldn't have. Their youthful selves would have went, whatever.
Navarro didn't get in with the Red Hot Chili Peppers?
No, they snubbed that fucker.
Seriously?
Everyone got in. Everyone got in for the Chili Peppers except Dave Navarro.
Come on.
Well, he was one album, right? He was one album.
No,
everybody else.
No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't.
Yeah.
Yes,
I'm pretty sure he was
albums.
a couple. Yeah.
Well, he toured. He was with them. Yes.
No. We're saying with the Chili Peppers.
The Chili Peppers.
Two albums with the Chili Peppers.
No.
Yes.
Which one? I know
the first one. Oh God, I'm not really a big Chili Pepper fan.
Right, with Warped, the song like Warped or whatever.
I love all of you. That cheeseball one. And then the second one was the Roller Coaster of Love. That's a different album. The Beavis and Butthead soundtrack.
Wasn't it?
Yes.
That's right. Yep.
But they put an album around that time, I think.
I didn't
Shit,
think
I
I
don't
gotta
think
look
so.
this up.
I think it's
No?
one album.
Okay.
I think he's one album.
I thought it was
One album,
and
one
then that
tour,
soundtrack.
And he left because it was like, you guys are way too goofy for me. I can't handle this.
No, that's not why. They kicked him out, man.
Can we talk about how bad the Chili Peppers suck?
Yeah, we can actually. We could talk
Thank
about
God,
that the
because
rest of the night.
No,
I was
actually
really
like.
worried that I was going to be the only one.
No,
I
yeah.
don't, I, don't have, I don't have a problem with the Chili Peppers, and I actually don't have a problem with them being in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame either. Because
I do.
if we're looking at it from a commercial standpoint, they sound different than a lot of these other guys did.
Yes,
and they
I
were the
agree.
ones that were commercially successful sounding that way. Are they the
Sounding
best
like
at that?
shit?
At that? Yeah. Are they the
Yeah.
best at that? No, they're
No, yeah.
not.
They are
But-
so fucking original
They're
compared
pretty
to
good at sounding like shit to me.
my favorite album from Really Hot Chili Peppers is Mother's Milk. That's the first album that has Chad Smith on drums.
Mhm.
And when I heard that album, when the album came out, my friend had it and I was listening to it and I'm like, shit, man, I like the way this guy drums. Because it's like I like drumming like that. I like doing that funky stuff. It was like natural for me to do that. So I kind of Mother's Milk is probably in my top 10 albums of all time for me. I like it.
Cool.
It's a jam album, Travis. You ever hear it?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
I
okay.
own it.
Oh, is this sweet? Is this jamming? Is this jamming? I love that, man. I don't know.
I haven't listened to it in probably.
Put it on. It's actually it makes me want to grab sticks. Actually,
It makes me want to wipe my ass with it.
no way, man. It makes you want to like grab. It makes you want to like just jam with Flea. I
I'd
like
throw a drumstick at Flea's head.
that guy's fat. That guy. That guy's amazing, man.
Oh,
I think he's an awesome musician.
Fuck that guy.
I think he's a fantastic musician. There's
Yeah.
a lot of bands that I could care less for,
Go
but
dance around in a diaper somewhere else. Shut the fuck up.
but man, when they know,
I can't stand that band. I'm sorry. Like, not at all.
I have to hate him because I love Mr. Bungle so much. So
There you
I
go.
have to dislike it.
Yeah.
It's the way that it goes.
I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you.
I actually have, through marriage, ties to Anthony Kiedis.
Oh, come on.
Swear to God.
Well, then there you go.
He's-
You can just go visit him and go, hey, paf.
That's right.
I would love to. But I can't because he lives in California.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, his family's from Michigan.
Where does he live? Under the bridge downtown?
Yeah, so.
Anybody know that song? I think that was one of theirs.
where I drew some blood.
Yeah.
God,
One of those
God.
heavy rotation songs on MTV, that's for
He's talking
sure.
about drawing
Yeah.
blood from heroin, Scott.
I need more beer.
All right, let's.
If we're starting this.
Okay, you want to start?
Can we
Tribe
talk
Called
about
Quest.
good bands?
I don't
Can we
know why
talk
there's
about
so
good
many
bands?
there's so many rap bands in already, and the Tribe Called Quest is not in.
Yeah, I don't get that either.
2 years snubbed. Pretty sad, man. Oh,
What?
wow.
That's
Like you throw NWA in there. Weren't that their first year inductees?
All of the raps so far have been first year. That
That's what I thought.
Public Enemy, NWA, Run DMC. Well, they deserve to be first, I
deserve
think. Yeah, and now Tupac, which I don't want to put my opinion, basically on taste. Like, I just don't like West Coast.
Grandmaster Flash and the
Most
Furious
overrated
5.
rapper of all time.
Grandmaster Flash
overrated
and the Furious
artist.
5 were snubbed for years before they got in.
Oh, let me check, Travis.
I mean, they like the first. What they like the first? 3 years, I think. 3 years, 2 nominations before they got in, something like that. And weren't they like the first? Weren't they like the first rap
One of the first
group to get in?
Let me check. I don't know. I don't have it up here.
2007.
Wow.
And I think they were like one of the first, weren't they?
Yeah, I'm not
Of
seeing
that
anybody else
genre?
before them.
Rap,
Probably.
yeah. I think
Okay.
yeah, that kind of.
I didn't know.
Yeah, they're the first.
Michael Jackson went in pretty late.
But I mean, whatever. I don't know that it. I'm always wondering about a lot of them that instantly get in. I mean, some of them make sense because they're the beginning of it. So clearly,
Yeah.
I mean, whatever you think of the Beatles, clearly they, as soon as they were able, they should be in. The Chuck Berrys and all of those kinds of people.
Honest,
Chuck Berry was the first.
The Beatles aren't in there. Is that what you just
Yeah,
said?
yeah, no, they are.
Oh god.
That's what I'm saying is those are people that should be. I mean, as soon as they were able to be inducted, those are clearly people that should just went right, right away,
Okay.
kind of stuff. So, but I don't know. I mean, part of me thinks that there are lots of them that should wait, years before they get in and whatnot.
Yeah.
So how come some of these bands early on, Green Day gets in, I'm gonna keep picking on them. They get in immediately. There's some bands that have never been in, or
Good PR, good management teams.
Apples to oranges, I guess. Frank Zappa had to wait 2 or 3 years before he got in. That blows my mind.
But he was really loved in America as much as he was everywhere else, though.
Yeah, that's where the popularity comes in,
right? Yeah. As opposed to the art.
Yeah, as opposed to
quality. And the influence.
Yeah.
Smashing Pumpkins has been snubbed twice.
That's slightly surprising me. Like,
oh, sorry, sorry. They've been eligible for 2 years. They haven't been nominated yet.
Yeah.
But okay. That's kind of like a band that I would picture going in first try for some reason.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But he's been very vocal about the Hall of Fame. Billy Corgan.
Oh, really?
He doesn't hold back. Yeah. He doesn't hold back.
That's his. I was gonna say that's his problem.
Yeah, he rips them apart.
Plus, they have to induct like 37 different members.
Well,
I like him more already.
But yeah, you got it. Well, you put in the original. Well, you put in Jimmy Chamberlain and James Iha.
Yeah.
And Darcy. I love Darcy. I love female bass players in the band.
Yeah.
And I think the core 4 is good enough.
Whatever. Yeah. That's why Dave Navarro's not in.
But Dave Navarro's going in with Jane's Addiction for sure. That's why.
Yeah, whenever that happens.
Okay, listen. How about Kiss, man? Seriously, they only put in the 4 core members, and they left everyone out.
That's because after everybody else left, they completely.
What are you talking about? Eric Carr joined the band in 19.
Eric Carr isn't he the quarterback for the Raiders?
No, this is the real reason Tom wanted to do this hangout, just so he could talk about Kiss.
1980, he joined the band for Creatures of the Night. And he stayed until his death in 1991. I remember the day he died, man. It fucked me up. That was like the first.
Really, he was in it from way back then.
1980, Creatures of the Night. He actually said, "Listen, man, I'm not gonna put on Peter Criss's makeup, Paul." He's like, "I want to be something else." So he came up with the Fox idea. That's awesome. And this is what pisses me off with Kiss today. Why they have Tommy Thayer and Eric Singer fucking putting on Ace Frehley's and Peter Criss's makeup. That's stupid. They should have just put on someone else's makeup. I just think it's
hanging up the jersey.
Yeah, I just fucking think it's stupid cosplaying, Ace Frehley and Peter Criss. Like,
but they've been doing that for years, John. They've been cosplaying themselves.
How you can't? They're not ripping off. Gene can rip. How's Gene ripping off himself? He's the demon. He's the original demon. That's fine. I'm just saying, like, it's just stupid. It looks silly.
Well, so about members getting in and not getting in, how many albums was that guy actually on? And was he on the albums?
Carr?
Yes, and was he on the albums? Yeah. Was he on the albums that added the influence, or was it that earlier stuff?
This was the biggest. Everyone freaked out when the Hall said you're only putting in the 4 core and that's it. And everyone's like, the first thing that came to mind was Eric Carr. Like, holy shit, you fucking kidding me? Creatures of the Night, Animalize, Crazy Nights, Lick It Up, Hot in the Shades. Like, that's already fucking 5 albums from the 80s. I think after Hot in the Shades, then he died. He didn't record Revenge. That's when he was in the hospital with his heart condition. Eric Singer played drums on Revenge, but he did play in the video for God Gave Rock and Roll to You, which is on Revenge. So fucking 5. What? They didn't write that song. So
we lost Travis.
Worst song ever. Oh!
They didn't write that song, so you can make fun of it.
They performed it and they recorded it. That's bad enough for me.
No, it's been recorded before.
They had to record it, Travis. God gave it to them.
Oh, okay.
Some other band. That's a soundtrack tune. That's from Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey.
So how many albums? I don't care where it was from. That's a whole
over song. 5. Okay, 5. At least 5.
Okay, so how many albums were before that, though?
How many
And-
albums
and-
before that?
Yeah, and how
So-
influential is that earlier Kiss stuff versus the older stuff?
For sure, yeah. The earlier stuff is where it's at. Though. He's got
And
it.
John, I'm asking this not as you as a fan as to what influenced you because of the age
Okay.
you're at, but the breadth of their total work. Where does that fall? I mean, I have
Okay.
no idea, dude. I am not a Kiss
Okay.
fan. I don't.
That's fine. But okay, so he's not going in for 5 albums, but Red Hot Chili Peppers can put in fucking the first kid that died. I was on for 2 albums, Hillel, whatever his name is. John Frusciante, whatever, fucking heroin addict. And then that kid that's in there right now, John, what's his name? Josh Hoggleswirgle, whatever. He's a fucking drummer, guitar player, bass. He's a fucking clown. He plays all the instruments. He's only been on for like fucking 2 albums, and everyone gets in. Everyone gets in. That's what I don't understand.
Except for
That's
Dave
what I don't
Navarro.
get. Josh something. He plays.
I don't know.
So that's.
Can we
I'm
talk
just.
about some good bands like the Clash?
I'm only comparing it to that.
They got in. The Clash got in. The only
With-
band that matters.
The Clash,
The old-
overrated.
Oh, we were just talking 5 minutes about Kiss, and you want to talk about
What?
I don't know.
Wow.
It's not the hipster Hall of Fame. It's the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Oh wow!
Wow.
Well, if that's the case, then so it's Meathead Hall of Fame, so we should have in like
Oh,
Def
come on.
Leppard and stuff
All right.
too, right?
Let's change the subject. Bon Jovi.
No. Keep going. Keep going.
No way, man.
Okay, no, seriously,
London Calling is like at least a top 20, if not a
Obviously.
top 10 album. What are we
Hey,
talking
wait a minute,
about?
wait a
It's top 5 for
Wait
me.
a minute. All these shots are being fired at me. You think I'm just gonna sit here and take them? I'm gonna hit back. I'm gonna hit you back, and then when I hit you back, it's gonna sting.
I only fired about Red Hot Chili
I
Peppers.
love the
I'm
Clash,
just-
man. You kidding me? I
I'm just-
fucking love them.
I'm just saying, you're the one that sounds delusional now, not us. That's
Oh,
all I'm
God.
saying.
Wow, I have to make my point across, and if I have to stoop low, I'm gonna go all the way down. I
That
don't
was
care.
real low.
An interesting one here, guys. I think is Joy Division because they only had 2 albums out with Ian Curtis before they broke up,
Can we?
but they are massive, influential
Yeah.
post-punk,
Yeah.
goth rock. Like everyone credits them, right, guys? So I don't know.
Yeah.
How does that work, Scott? What do you think about?
I'm that one. Like
That's a tough one, eh?
I'm flabbergasted.
As a
How about
fan,
that? How about that for a word?
I'm a fucking diehard Joy Division fan, and that's a
You're
tough
looking
one.
at another one. I can't. I don't know.
What do you think,
So-
Travis?
Joy
For
Division,
influence?
Joy Division is not in.
No.
No.
They haven't even been nominated, have they?
No.
Let me check. I don't.
I don't see them on the nomination and snub list.
No, they're on.
They are-
They're on this thing that they're snubbed. They're on that list.
Are they?
You're snubbed.
14
I think it says 14 years.
14
yeah.
years they've been eligible.
Oh.
No nomination.
Yeah, it's kind of
Yeah.
a mess, isn't it?
Yeah,
No.
14 years, Travis. I know, eh? So okay, 2 albums, right?
2. That's it.
2 albums.
But everybody that plays anything remotely close to that sound
Thank you. Look at the sound they introduced in the 80s.
Yeah.
lists them as being a. I don't know.
Pioneers of post-punk,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
goth rock, right?
Yeah.
There's fucking
Yeah.
there's Ian Curtis
Shoegaze or
songs,
whatever you
man,
want,
that
yeah.
are like hauntingly fucking gothic, man. I don't know. I think they're pioneers. I've always thought.
I agree 100%. That I lost for words. Sorry. Like when we first started talking about this.
Yeah.
I think I listed off 5 bands that I couldn't believe have been snubbed so far, or at least not nominated.
Okay,
Joy Division is one of them. I can't.
if they don't want to
I don't
put New
understand.
Order in, that's just fine. They don't want to put New Order in, then put Joy Division
You
in.
gotta put Joy Division.
Well, yeah, but Joy Division is New Order.
No, I know.
No,
I'm
you know
I'm
what I
saying
mean.
if
Like,
you don't want to put New Order in.
like for me as a fan of both, it'll be like I'll be satisfied with both. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'd
Yeah.
be more satisfied if it was Joy Division.
Yeah, me
honestly.
too. Ian Curtis deserves it, man.
Just because those 2 albums have, I mean, this is fan talk, but a
Yeah.
very special place for me.
I know, they're
Like,
awesome.
They hold it. Just
Which one did you just get, Scott?
the
You
which
got one.
vinyl.
Oh yeah.
Unknown
of,
Pleasures.
oh wow.
I just found it. Yeah.
Not a first pressing, is it?
No.
I was gonna say. I'll take it off your hands.
If it was, it would have been a small fortune, but I'd be willing to.
Well, New Order should go in for being the number one, the 7-inch, the single Blue Monday. No one will ever break that record. Fuck, I love that.
We'll get credit for when other bands covered it too, though. No, I'm not saying they did it any justice. I'm just saying they get credit for.
No, you're right. That's like heavily covered, man. Yeah.
I mean, you got to think of all the bands that have covered.
Probably the best covers, but by the band Orgy.
Oh, Orgy. Oh god.
They're on tour with Limp Bizkit, that Family Values tour. I caught that tour.
Yeah, I remember that.
Holy smokes. I don't remember. I remember going. I just don't remember. I don't know what happened after that. I'm like, what the? What are we doing here, man? Like, oh, get off me. That was rough.
Well, for me personally, there's the list of people who've made it into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I can, pull half of that list off and put a whole different list of people on for my own personal taste and my own personal idea of what I think's important and what isn't important. As
that's
far as
we're doing.
We
play fantasy football with our bands.
Yeah, I mean, so there's just there's some of them that just kind of are. Some of them that are listed and snubbed, they feel kind of like one-hit wonders. And so I see why they don't make it on. Things like Steppenwolf has been on there for forever. I don't think they'll ever make it in. People can name one, maybe two songs of theirs, unless you're some sort of. Yeah, right.
No.
Unless you're.
The Guess Who? There's tons, man.
No, there's not, unless you're Canadian.
There you go.
Shut up.
There you go.
Hey, they're from where Terrence is at.
It's true, yeah. No, they're Winnipeg, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have the Burton Cummings Theater downtown.
I can't tell you. I can't tell you what a shock it was as a kid to go and get I can't remember what album it is anymore. I don't even own it anymore. That had American
Destroyer?
Woman on it.
I know,
right?
Awesome.
And you're like, oh my god, American Woman! This is an awesome song. This is gonna rock. You put that in, and none of the other songs sound anything like that. It's like, what the hell? So yeah,
I hate that song.
Oh, I'm sure.
American Woman.
Even the Lenny Kravitz version. Oh fuck.
Oh, that was even worse.
The Butthole Surfers version is the best version.
Oh, never heard of it.
It's fantastic. It's all you need. Yeah, I mean, looking at the list, that's all my things were like, I just saw names that were just people that in my mind had such an influence and kind of creating a genre of music or like pioneering a genre of music that went to kind of influence a ton of people afterwards. Bands like Can, Bad Brains, like I said already, Captain Beefheart, stuff like that is just, to me, it seems like a no-brainer. It's like, forget about how much they sold. They influenced an entire generation of music. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, not just a couple of bands, fucking a multitude of bands, like.
Yeah.
It's mind-boggling.
Well, or they're bands that are still relevant.
Yeah.
In one way or another. They're still influencing, or they're, they're, like I said, they're still relevant. I don't know. I think the Dead Kennedys are more relevant now.
Yeah.
Maybe than they were they were in the 80s, or they're re-relevant. Again, granted, if you don't like punk, then clearly it's not your bag or whatever. But I don't know. There's just some of them that is kind of like.
If you don't like punk or hardcore, you're watching the wrong show.
Yeah. Quite possibly, yes.
Yeah.
If you're in the audience screaming for Def Leppard, you're probably in the wrong place.
This isn't it.
Yeah.
I'm looking at that list that Johnny gave us, and I'm looking personally. Bad Brains, Black Flag,
the
Buzzcocks, Captain Beefheart. I missed Alice in Chains, but Alice in Chains.
Nah, don't hold your breath, Scott. Don't hold your breath.
Hey, you fucking Soundgarden.
Oh no!
I agree.
My battery's
I agree with Soundgarden. Yeah.
My battery's dying.
I only mentioned Soundgarden because I had to, but
yeah,
I still don't want to mention
Nick Cave. I can't believe that Nick Cave hasn't made it.
Yeah, that's mind-boggling.
Where else? Oh, Faith No More. Depending on how you
Faith
want
No
to
More,
look at it.
absolutely, they should be there. They
Okay.
single-handedly destroyed music, creating this fucking rap rock bullshit.
Yeah.
They should get well. Maybe that's why they're getting punished, not being in there.
That's probably why.
Yeah.
Fugazi.
Yeah, for sure. Come on,
Yeah.
that's ridiculous.
Husker Du, however you want to pronounce it.
Yeah,
But their first album blew me away. Land Speed record.
was
Just
it
a live
them
show.
who went on to be Sugar, or was that something else?
I don't know.
Yeah,
It might be. Joy Division. There's Jane's Addiction.
Yeah.
Joy Division.
oh, they're on. Oh yeah, they're there. Yeah, 5 years.
Yeah. MC5. They're a big one for this
Kraftwerk,
area.
man.
at
Come
least.
on, Kraftwerk.
Yeah.
It's mental. Anyway, I'm not gonna look at that list anymore.
The monkeys haven't made it yet, man. It's a crime.
That is a crime.
Motorhead. My Bloody Valentine. New Order. New York Dolls.
New York Dolls, that kills me too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nine Inch Nails. Travis and I talked about them.
New York Dolls. What, are you serious?
Yeah, they're not in.
Just Travis shitting on
Pantera.
kids. You're talking about New York Dolls? I don't get it. I don't get it, man.
Original?
Yeah,
I want to know
Viruses?
how
I agree.
Metallica is in, but Ozzy Osbourne and Pantera are not.
Right.
No, Ozzy Osbourne won't go in, man. Not yet. I mean, he went in with Black Sabbath. Chill.
I know, but on his own.
Oh, he'll get there.
Pavement, Pixies, The Replacements, The Runaways, Susie and the Banshees.
Runaways, come on, they're not there.
No,
No,
they're not.
Joan
No.
Jett, Lita Ford, come
yes.
on.
Yes. The chick band is not in.
you know
Yeah,
what? I think next year Oasis is eligible.
What about Pretenders? Is Pretenders in?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
so yeah.
I believe that.
Yeah, they got in mid 2000s, I want to
Oh
say.
yeah, really?
Yeah. The Smiths.
If Oasis
Sonic
gets
Youth.
in before Blur, it's gonna restart the Britpop invasion. That feud they had in the late '90s. It's gonna happen. I already know.
Weird Al Yankovic. Come on.
You know what? He's gonna be the last person to get in ever because it's like it's like a joke saying,
Yeah.
"What the fuck? He's getting in before me." He actually parodied my.
He'll make
my
up his
song.
own. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be funny if he goes in before people that he fucking songs that he dissed, like parodied. That'd be hilarious. There's one that I want to talk about. I want to touch on here. Oh god, the Cars. Did you guys talk about the Cars?
No.
I don't know.
We didn't.
The
I was
Cars
just
is-
listing off ones personally that I just can't believe.
Yeah, like
What based on
I can't believe the Cars ain't in. That's weird. Rick Ocasek from the Cars, like damn, that's fucked up.
Yeah. Yet the Red Hot Chili Peppers are in, Scott.
God, do we have a keep?
I just wanted to see you do that one more time. That's all.
Janet Jackson.
What? So it took Lou Reed 17 years to get in.
With Metal Machine music, even.
Yeah. Oh God. That
Yeah,
record.
these metalheads. Oh, yeah. I'm surprised they're not freaking out that all their beloved bands aren't in.
Oh, yeah.
Who are you talking about?
Motorhead, Megadeth, Slayer, Iron
just mentioned
Maiden, Judas Priest. Shit like that.
Yeah.
Slayer, yeah, you said that, yeah.
Like I could care less about Slayer. I never really cared about them.
Yeah.
I love Slayer.
It's like
I'm sorry.
I'm not really a fan of that hardcore fucking.
It makes me sad people like ABBA got in, but whatever.
Oh God.
ABBA's fantastic.
They're, yeah,
So the
they're
Backstreet.
pretty fucking good, yeah. I'm with you on that one.
I like ABBA. I don't give a shit.
They were influential, whether you agree or not.
Yeah, they gave me nightmares as a kid. That's for sure.
You know what? I've had. You know what? Growing up in school and whatever, people always talk about your influences and like, hey man, what do you like? What do you like? Got to be in this group. Got to be in that group.
Yeah.
I never fucking fell into those. It's like I used to tell them, "What? Do you fucking eat hot dogs every day? Is that all you fucking eat is hot dogs?" It's like me with music. I everything. I loved everything. Listened to everything. I still do to this day. It's just I don't know.
Well, another one of my favorite bands is on the snub list, and I normally don't mention it because everybody rolls their eyes at me. I'm a huge Jeff Tull fan. I own every Jeff Tull
the flute
album there is.
The flute, right?
I have seen.
Travis plays a mean flute.
I have seen. They're the second most band I have seen is Jeff Tull.
That's cool.
And they were a progressive band well before progressive bands.
Yeah, absolutely.
They continue to get screwed.
And they beat Metallica for that hard rock Grammy.
Yeah, remember that 1987? Yeah. So the nominations are Nothing Shocking, Ultra Mega OK, Metallica won, right? Justice for One, and Jeff Tull Wood, one of their worst albums, quite honestly, and they win because of course. No, I think there was also a was there like an Iggy Pop? There was like an Iggy Pop album that was up for nomination too. Yeah, it was weird. It was like alt rock.
How do you remember that?
Because it was huge. Because I loved all those bands pretty much. I owned all that stuff, and I'm just thinking, oh my god, it's a cornucopia of cool. I don't care who wins. I know Jeff Tull is yes, and I know that Jeff Tull is not going to win because they're not even close to rock and roll in that thing, and they win. It was embarrassing.
Wow.
They even thought it was embarrassing. They're like,
Yeah, but that's a classic example of like they obviously felt they got overlooked for too long, and let's just give it to them. And you know what I mean? Like it's the downside of all this kind of honorary shit, right?
Right. So they should just give him an honorary something instead of getting for what was going on at the time. Yeah. But I love that
achievement for Jethro Tull.
Yes, I know nobody. Like I said, whatever. I love them. I still do.
That's cool.
I mean that's
I have. There's odd artists I love too, man. That I'll never share on here, but.
We all know you're an Adamant fan. Your poster's back there over your shoulder. Strip for me and I'll strip for you. Yeah.
Well, I'm a huge Duran Duran.
That's
fan.
before your time, I guess. Yeah.
I've seen Duran Duran. That's the band I've seen probably like 30 times in concert.
Yeah.
Seriously, that many times? Wow.
Yeah, I actually went to Montreal and I met them backstage with my wife.
Cool. For me, it's Alice in Chains. I've seen Alice in Chains more times than I've seen anything else than like the Melvins than Jeff Tull.
I wish I could have.
My bragging concert to go to, Scott. I went to Portland. I saw Alice in Chains in a venue that probably held 150 people. I'll just stand around watching them. It's back when Stanley still had dreads. And the band that opened up to him was this weird little band called Mookie Blaylock at the time. Of course now. Yeah. Well, no, it was Pearl Jam.
A band called
come on.
Pearl Jam. Pearl Jam was named Mookie Blaylock to start out with. And they were going to stick because they're huge because they all went to Eastern Montana together. And they were going to name themselves Mookie Blaylock, and then they were told legally they couldn't name themselves that. So that's when they came up with Pearl Jam. So I heard them, but I went to the concert because I had heard that of course, I knew Alice in Chains was playing, and I had heard that Temple of the Dog was supposedly going to be playing.
Yeah.
Because Andrew Wood had just died not very long ago. And it was like, oh, wow, that'll be awesome to go see because I'm going to get to see, Chris Cornell, some of the guys from Soundgarden, some of the guys from, Mellow Love Bone. This is going to be awesome. And we got this other band, and they were awesome too. I mean, they put on an awesome live show for being really new and not knowing what, amongst themselves and didn't. But that was an awesome show because, like I said, you could stand point blank.
In a small club. For sure.
Yeah, I actually saw Alice in Chains earlier than that, where they still had the leftover glam band stuff because they had just come off of kind of a glam band. So they were still wearing eyeliner and stuff and whatnot. It was pretty funny. It was great because they had all this they were still, like I said, they still looked kind of glam. And at the same time, the fans were already wearing, who the fuck is Alice shirts and stuff like that. I mean, they were already getting into the harder end of things. That was kind of funny, but it was
So
funny.
did they play like a blend of styles then, or did they kind of?
Yes. It was this weird kind of cusp of them playing
really
stuff,
weird.
playing stuff that was stuff from bands they had been in before. That was that was more kind of a glam band, more closer to. Well, the butt rock that was out on radio at the time that everybody was trying to get away from, right? And then the stuff that what we would all recognize now if somebody dropped the Eagle Down on Alice in Chains, album kind of a thing. So yeah, it was kind of cool. It was fun.
The best one I saw in a small club was Monster Magnet, and then Fu Manchu were opening for them.
Oh,
and
nice.
It was way back. It was way back. Fu Manchu was their first album. Monster Magnet, He Had a Fever, but it was a small, like I was literally like 10 feet away from him, and it was an unbelievable show. We bought the Fu Manchu record afterwards, and then the band came out and were, hey, that's us on the record, and we drank with them and hung out, and it was like a small, shitty little club, but it was fucking amazing because it was this really intimate environment, right?
Awesome, yeah. And I had just discovered Fu Manchu like last year. Like, oh my God, where have these people been in my life? That is in California, getting high.
Yeah. Hey, Terrence.
Yeah.
When you were living in Kitchener-Waterloo, do you remember the Lyric?
I do. Yeah, I went to see Helix there actually.
Oh, do you know who I caught there? That summer, that month, I caught 3 sick bands in a row, man. It was weird. It was right before they closed down. Number 1 was Foo Fighters. Number 2 was Stone Temple Pilots.
Shut up!
I swear to God. And then Blur. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, these are
at the Lyric. Yeah,
they weren't even promoted shows.
Yeah.
It was awesome. It was
small venue, Johnny. Small venue.
I think so.
It's smallish for sure. Yeah.
It's standing room. There's no sitting down.
Yeah.
So okay, Scott, picture a movie theater with no chairs. That's it.
Yeah.
I got you.
It was awesome, man. It's like, and Dave Grohl had the second drum set out there with Taylor Hawkins. I was like, oh God. It was awesome.
See, I've only been able to see Foo Fighters in big venues. I've seen them.
Oh,
nice. Now.
They were promoting Shape and Color. I mean, sorry, the color.
I've seen. I wanted to see them play this last album they put out, Sonic Highways, but I saw them with. I forget the name of it. Like 4 different words with a bomb on the front. Echoes, patience. Something.
Yeah.
And then what was the one right after that? It's the black cover with the neon.
Yeah.
I
don't know the
Wasting
name.
Light.
Yes.
I'm always jealous of the people that get to see them when they just show up at like the state fair and do a cover band thing.
Yeah.
You would love.
I mean, can you just imagine that you're showing up? Oh, I mean, I don't know. Here, our state fair is always kind of weak, or it's some country locals or that I don't care about, but. I would just blow my mind to show up something like that and suddenly.
I don't know if I should tell Travis this story. This is nuts. Okay, Terrence probably knows this. Remember Molson Canadian used to have a promotion called Molson Canadian Rocks, and inside a case of beer there'd be a concert ticket.
Yeah.
But it doesn't say who the band is. It just tells you which venue to go to. So my friend at work gets the ticket. He's like, "Fuck, man, I don't want this. Do you want it?" I'm like, "Nah, man, I'm gonna do something else." I had like a wicked long weekend planned. I was like, nah, I don't want to go. And beside this one ticket, I'm not going by myself. So he went to Lee's Palace by himself to Toronto. He rode in the subway. He's like, he told me the story. He's like, fuck, man, I hate the subway. And he went down there. He gets into this place. He's like, man, I'm like standing there. People are drunk. All of a sudden, bam, David Bowie walks out.
No! Oh my God.
David Bowie walks out. He told me the story. I was like, oh man, I swear, I think I stood there for 1 hour. I'm like, he was gonna give it to me. That was with Rolling Stones, David Bowie.
Yeah.
That was a wicked summer. It was a wicked summer.
Yeah, I
everyone
remember
just
hearing about that. I can't imagine. I can't imagine. I would completely lose my mind.
But and he's like, hey man, you like David Bowie, right? I'm like, wow. The concert, dude. I'm like, what?
No.
Hey man, you had a killer long weekend plan. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, right. Right.
I know. Oh God, I can't believe it. I couldn't believe
I
it.
never got to go to shows until I was 18.
Oh come on.
Which was
that's criminal.
Same here.
My parents my parents were quite strict.
Oh, yeah.
My mother in particular.
Uh,
But and when I was 18, it was 2000.
I went to go see
Like-
Glass Tiger at 16.
I lost a whole lot of really cool years. I could have gone and seen different bands that like I idolize now.
Yeah.
But I think the first show I went to that was actually like a smaller venue show. My wife actually bought me tickets for. It was Bad Religion.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Oh wow!
And it was like the turning point for me.
Yeah.
After that show, I went to one every weekend for 2 years straight.
Nice.
Swear
Wow!
to God.
Live music
We
is
had-
awesome.
Oh, you can't beat it.
Yeah.
And at the time, I mean, early 2000s, I was deep into skate punk at the time. So Bad Religion, Pennywise were coming around all the time. Rancid was around all the time. So I had all those bands, and then I'd go see a whole bunch of bands that I didn't even know just because I knew that there was a show. And tickets were like $10. Taking Back Sunday, if you guys know them, I saw them before their first album came out, which was really, really cool. There's this little band called No Motive that I was really into that I saw in the basement of a bar. Or it was a bar in the basement of another venue.
Oh God! Do you know who played at a basement bar? Rage Against the Machine. Terrence.
Oh yeah.
In Kitchener, in a basement bar.
Oh,
I
I can't
was
imagine being in tight quarters with that band.
With
Oh
that
man!
band.
Yeah.
First of all, I didn't believe my friend. He was like, "Dude, man, Rage is playing there." I'm like, "No, man, they wouldn't come to Kitchener." Yeah, man, they were playing like in the basement, the Volcano, whatever it was called. I'm like, whatever. Yeah, it's bullshit. You don't even know who the fuck they are. I'm like, yeah, I swear to God, Rage was there. And then asking around, they're like, yeah, man, Rage was there. I'm like, what? That would have been nuts. Because I could have pictured them being there. Like, I don't know. That's insane.
I was lucky enough that in Winnipeg we've got a few clubs. Royal Albert Arms, most notoriously, West End Cultural Center, the Pyramid, all those kind of things. So the West End Cultural Center, they used to have this thing, 5 bands for $5 every Sunday, and that place, it was always an all ages show, so we could go, and it was always like punk rock and hardcore and metal kind of bands, So every single Sunday we'd take the bus from North Kelowna and head downtown and pay $5, and it was meant for underage kids, right? But then places like the Albert and the Pyramid, they would just turn their heads. So I mean, we were seeing shows, when I was like 15, 16 years old, we were going into the bars to see shows, right? And the first kind of big club one I went to, or the big concert one, was Kiss Crazy Nights. That was my very first stadium rock show. With Anthrax opening up for them, which was just no, I'm totally serious. Yeah, it was really bizarre. It was a really bizarre pairing. But I mean, I remember going with friends of mine, and a buddy of mine had a butterfly knife with him for some reason. Thank God he did. It was our first stadium show, and some other guys tried to rough us up and take our money, and he just whipped out and did his little thing, and that was it. But I mean, So then we just stuck to the small clubs. We didn't go much to the stadium shows. We went to see, and then like I said, I just got way into metal and punk and hardcore and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, right from kind of 15, 16 years old, we were out seeing shows. My brother saw Jesus Lizard and John Spencer Blues Explosion. That was his first kind of show when he was really young, I think 15 years old at least, right? So I mean, we were just lucky to have these places that just kind of just turned an eye as you went in. It was awesome. So great.
I saw Kiss, Hot in the Shades, 1989.
There you go.
My neighbor took me. It was such a nice gift, man. It was so cool.
I saw Weezer when they put out the Green Album.
Oh, that would be good too.
That's fucking one of my favorite bands, man, Weezer.
Yeah, they're so good.
Fucking
I'm just getting my son into a lot of music, and that's something that we sit on the weekends and we listen to a lot of stuff. Funnily enough, he's listening to Beck, he's listening to Soundgarden, he's listening to Weezer, he's listening to a bunch of stuff. It's really kind of cool to sit there with him, and so he's asking me lately all these stories about what was it like when you played in bands, and I have a couple of friends at school that are playing in bands, so I'm gonna get him a drum kit this summer because he wants to play drums.
Why not?
Yeah, so because I really think he should do it because I have such fond memories of being in bands. It was just so much fun just playing and for your friends, and So
Yeah, I have
great.
the worst memories of being in a band.
Really? Hey?
Hey,
All we did was play one cover song.
oh,
Oh no.
actually, my friends and I, we were actually the cover, like a Weezer cover band in high school for Battle of the Bands. We didn't get in because no one was like really serious about playing.
Yeah.
But because I was part of the jazz band, I convinced them. It's like, hey man, I got awesome musician friends that want to play. They're like, I have a good idea. Why don't you guys play during intermission? Like, we're gonna have 3 intermissions. You guys play. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
my friends and I, we put the whole Blue album together. Weezer
That's
Blue album.
awesome.
We nailed it, man. We were like, well, it's pretty easy. I actually know the parts for bass, guitar, and drums for that album. And we played. We were like the intermission, like for the three intermissions. We played the whole album. And I was saying, at the end, they announced the winner. They're like, hey, what the fuck? What's up with Johnny, man? How come they didn't win? What's going on? Like, no, we're just intermission bands, man. We rocked. It was so awesome. I miss those days, man.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Well, and that's a good thing about my son getting to that age now, because now I can live vicariously through him. Like,
That's
right.
because I can see that look in his eye when he's talking about it. I can see that look. It's like, dude, you're gonna love it.
Oh
You're
man,
getting your
it's
drum
amazing.
kit. You're starting a band with your friends. You guys can
Do it.
practice in the garage, whatever you
Do
want.
it.
You know what I mean? Like, it'll be so great.
Do it.
I had to end up doing solo stuff. I played solo shows. That was cool. It's just you don't get the whole.
That's intimidating, eh, Scott?
That's super intimidating. I could never do that.
It was rough. Like I had another friend who was in a band, and they ended up breaking up, and he decided to do a solo thing right at the same time I did. But he's way better than I was, so he had me open up for him a few times.
That's holy smokes.
And I remember it was my first show, and we get to the coffee shop together, and he was like, "Okay, just go ahead and play whatever you want, half hour, whatever." I was like, "Cool, I'm good." We get there, and he realizes he forgot his cord for his guitar, and he's like, "I have to go get it. You keep playing until."
Oh God! Oh God!
I went through. At the time, I was recording a record. I went through every song I had, and then 3 cover songs
Oh man.
to fill up an hour and 15 minutes.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd
I
be
was like,
horrible.
Really?
These
Really?
are crazy, 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 crazy nights.
It was so good.
Grade 8?
Seriously.
Grade 8, our first.
And that was before I could drink.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, gosh. Hey Scott, in
So I
grade
couldn't
8,
even numb
my band name was Alchemy. We were called
Oh,
Alchemy.
really?
Our main influence was Black Sabbath, man. It was
There it
the
is.
best.
No,
It was like Black
Alchemy. You
Sabbath.
got to have a flute player with a band name like that.
No doubt, right? No doubt.
Yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, that was my first band ever, first organized band. I was in grade 8. That was like probably like top of the world, best feeling ever. It was just, oh my god, man.
Yeah.
And then after it got all serious,
The one thing I regret from back then is like, because we started playing these shows with people and kind of playing some of the bars and things, especially like once we hit 18, there was a lot of bands that would just kind of approach us, and I got asked to play in different styles of bands, like music that I wasn't into at the time.
Mhm.
And I really regret just not diving in and doing it, even if it was like, I got asked by a death metal band, for example, at that time, and I just wasn't into that music.
How cool would that
at
be?
all. And I really regret not doing it, because it's just like, just give it a try and just have fun with it, because that's the perfect age just to try everything, right? And then figure it out. But it would have brought my chops up, that's for sure.
I actually had kind of a similar thing happen. So at 18, was doing my solo stuff, going to college, and in my American government or American history class, first day, go in, and of course, you get the lay of the land, who looks kind of like what you're into. So I see this dude just wearing metal t-shirt, had tattoos on his arm of like razor blades and scissors and stuff, right? So I'm like, oh, okay, I can sit next to this dude and probably have a decent conversation, yeah? we get to talking. We're talking about music, and find out he's in a band. And I was like, oh man, I've only done the one band thing, and it turned out shitty. And he told me that he wanted to get this 20-person band together to, yeah. And I was like, oh sweet, let's do something. And it just never came to fruition. But then he asked me if I like what kind of guitar I played and all that. And he was like, oh, we need another guitarist for this band called the Black Dahlia Murder, who now are actually really, really huge in Europe.
Sure.
And
yeah.
Wow.
You think about it and you're like, God.
So actually the guy from that band?
He's a singer, yeah.
Wow.
Shut up. That's crazy.
Yeah. And I still talk to him on Facebook all the time.
Wow.
It was pretty.
That's cool.
Yeah. It was a couple years later, after they had gotten a lot of success in Europe. I messaged him on Facebook. I was like, hey, I don't know if you remember me. It was one class and at OU, and I just want to say been listening to your stuff since and really love the last record. He's like, oh yeah, I remember you. We used to make fun of the moms in class in American Government. I was like, yeah, we did. He was like, oh, how's things going? And blah, blah, blah. So now we just bullshit.
Huh?
That's cool.
But yeah, he's like the what if, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck. Could be in Europe.
Bands, Travis, did you play in any or?
I dabbled in noise, really.
Really?
Yeah.
We all just dabble in noise. Don't worry about it.
It was really more about how offensive could you play what you're playing than it really was ever playing anything kind of a deal. So yeah. Yeah, I was in one, and we didn't play very many shows, and we only played shows that people didn't know who the hell we were. Because then after we were done playing that show, we would probably never get to play that venue again. Because yeah, it'd be the kind of thing that if you really paid serious money to watch us play, you'd be pissed, kind of a thing. So, but we had fun because that's what it was all about for us. It was 100%. How many people can we stick our fingers in front of, kind of a thing, So our briefly named Cranky Messiah, and we just kind of made a lot of noise and
nice.
We had fun. I mean, it was fun for me. I look at it in retrospect and I kind of go, I can see where you might think we were assholes at the time, but but like I said, for us, that's what we knew we weren't going to compete. For me, I love music. Some music is easy for me, and other music is a lot of work, and we weren't willing to put the work in at the time. So it was for us. It was never anything serious. I had zero aspirations to. I like a lot of people. I think back and go, man, it'd be really awesome to have been in a real band or whatever. But I knew that wasn't really going to happen. So we milked what we could for as long as we could, kind of a thing, and whatnot. But the best thing about that was just being able to do shows with people who actually were real performers and getting to rub elbows with them and whatnot. Fortunately, I live where I personally live at. There's nothing. I mean, we're in the middle of nowhere. I don't live too far from a college town. That college town brought in all kinds of music that I got to see. Well, like I saw Alice in Chains. They were in the bigger venue, but saw lots of stuff at the university, Washington State University. Little places where 50 people in the places, most people you could crush into the place, and name all that grunge stuff. I saw it as it was, kind of as it was happening, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
If I didn't see it there was a bar just off campus. It was in a basement. It's called the Cavern. If I didn't see him on campus, you saw him off campus, kind of a thing. And like I said, I feel really lucky. I saw so many of those bands before. Nirvana is the only band of any named kind of grunge band that I didn't see, with 50 other people, either, on campus or off campus. So
did you ever see Tad?
Yeah. I love Tad. Oh, yeah. Awesome.
I heard they put on quite a show.
They do.
Especially when he would stage dive is what I always heard.
Well, yeah, you want to get out of the way of that. because that
Yeah.
Tad's is a big man. So
Yeah.
But I loved it. They were you would think being that large you wouldn't have that amount of energy for that long.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
man, I love Tad. Like I said, there's all kinds of bands. I saw them before they were, whatever, or I went and saw them and not really thought a lot about it. Went and saw Green River, and Green River maybe not as big, but Green River became all these other. They broke up and became all the other bands that everybody names, kind of a stuff, And I saw some really atrocious bands too. Don't get me wrong. There were some bands that how did you get an album, kind of a thing? But but everybody
was getting signed at that time, weren't
right.
they?
Oh
basically,
yeah.
You play a show, you were getting signed. That was it.
Right. Yeah. But it was like I said, it was really cool just because they were, it felt different because of course what was all over the airways was the Wingers and the Warrants and all of that. Yeah, the kind of the more the butt rock kind of stuff, and then this felt like something I was super excited about at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, I listen to stuff now, I listen to new stuff now and whatnot, but I am one of those people that to some degree my tastes are trapped in that era. That was, by from 18 to like 25, that's the window of music that I fall back to all the time. I'm getting into vinyl now. I know that's one of the reasons why we started talking music, is I'm getting back into vinyl. Of course, I'm not buying a lot of new stuff, but I'm going back and buying everything that I already own on CD or cassette tapes. I'm now buying what I don't already own on vinyl, because I do own some of the stuff on vinyl, but now I'm going back and buying all this old stuff, and I love it. So
it's great. Like I was saying to you before, like because you were showing that Soundgarden, I've been listening to a lot of that old stuff, and it's been amazing just kind of hearing it again. Like it still has an impact. Same kind of thing. That's music really of my time. That was a lot of us who were of a similar age or whatever. Like when grunge came along, that was a pretty big thing, especially within popular music. Like you said, a response to all this hair metal and all this other bullshit. It was a huge impact on us. So
yeah. Especially as a young teenager.
Yeah.
Had a huge influence on me, man, my friends.
Yeah.
I remember that was the time. Oh, sorry.
Sorry. Go ahead.
No, I just I was just gonna say that in grade 9 in high school, I remember when all those grunge bands, came out in one shot. I remember that was a time where I could have conversations. Before I was like basically alone. I only knew 2 friends that were musicians, and it was amazing how that period of music, I could talk to anyone in my class, and everyone was picking up a guitar.
It's true.
Someone was taking bass lessons. Guys that I never talked to would come up to me and say, "Hey, John, you play the drums, right?" It was cool. It was like I love how it inspired so many people to just pick up an instrument, and because that sound, it's the sound. The sound sounded, that's why they call it garage, right? Isn't that what it's called? Like garage band music.
Yeah, no, it's legit. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And then not only that, everybody was listening to the same thing. Like there was so many people that all of those bands, like everybody was listening to it. So it was pretty fucking enormous.
It's like, trying to play the intro to Sweet Child of Mine. It's like, fuck it. Give me Nirvana.
Yeah, that's right.
Let's take up Nirvana. Screw this. Fuck you.
Yeah, but I think the look had something to do with it though too. Because they didn't bill themselves as
the dress down.
They were just like literally walk off the street. Well, that Alice in Chains and to be Pearl Jam, I'm standing next to Eddie Vedder and Stone Gossard while the other bands are playing, because there was a band that opened up before. There was 3 bands. I can't remember what the first band was, but I'm standing with the rest of the band. I'm standing with Alice in Chains. I don't know who the guys are really until they get up on stage, because they look like everybody else. It's not. They're not.
Yeah, there was no.
They weren't pimping themselves out. They were literally what they wore off the street that day. That's what they wore to play. And like I said, I appreciate the big rock and roll show. Don't get me wrong. I love the spectacle of all that too.
No,
but there was something cool about the fact that, hey, those were dudes like like us, doing whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and it was
very
that
relatable.
change, right? Like you need it. It's got to have that ebb and flow. Like there's only so much of this cock rock posturing you can put up with before it's just got to happen naturally. It's just got a bunch of dudes off the street. Here's our music. It just goes like that.
Right. A favorite interview of mine wasn't very long ago. Somebody was talking to Def Leppard, and they were saying they were taking credit for Nirvana because they said Nirvana wouldn't have existed without them. And I'm like, you're getting a little carried away, but kind of a thing.
That's
But
okay. I gotta see this.
it's like
I would have dissed him so bad.
yeah, because we
Who
were
said
so
it?
popular, we were so big. The lead singer of
Yeah.
Like-
I inspired Dave Grohl. No, I'm joking.
like, oh, okay, whatever,
That was
man.
bad.
But yeah, good stuff.
You're right. You're right. It's relatable through music and clothes, just everything.
Yeah.
It's like you can look at the back of that CD or cassette. I didn't have records at the time. And it's like, holy shit, man! I got the same Scarborough dinner jacket. The flannel jackets. I got the same thing at home.
There you
I got
go.
Long Johns too. Look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, long johns with the shorts.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was the fact I was really poor at the time, and so I wore a lot of holy clothes. So I fit right in because they didn't have money, I didn't have money. Cool, I can relate with that. So
That's a pretty cool scene, Travis. You're like right there, West Coast, right in the heart of
Yeah.
right there, Seattle.
But
You
you said lucky, yeah.
and it's pretty cool how Travis is Seattle, Scott is Detroit,
Yeah.
Rock City, Motown.
Yeah.
Me and Terrence, we got to make up a location.
I got the Guess Who. That's all I got.
Yeah, we got I'm Toronto,
Johnny.
man.
You're from the T Dotto.
I know. No, there's a lot of fucking great.
Well, I was gonna
artists from
say
Ontario.
I would assume Toronto's a pretty cosmopolitan kind of place. I would
Holy
guess
smokes.
there is a ton of stuff going on there, probably
Tons.
all the time.
Oh yeah.
And then the downside becomes once you become a family man, then you don't have the same kind of time.
No, and I'm an hour away now, so
Yeah, to put in with whatever's going on. Because I'm sure there's a scene. All the places that I used to go to,
Oh, God.
that there was a scene. I would
Oh,
bet
yeah.
there is a scene now too. Whatever it is, I don't
Sure,
know because I
absolutely.
just flat,
Yeah.
full-time job and life
Yeah.
and
I know.
gray
Yeah,
hair.
I-
Gray hair. I just don't have the time to
I know.
do it.
I bet I could go to a show every weekend still.
So many times I
I
wake
bet I
up.
could find one. I just can't.
Yeah.
So many times I wake up, it's like, you know what? I'm gonna start living me for me. I'm done. Fuck all this.
Yeah, right.
Fuck all this.
I don't believe. I don't believe for a second.
I do.
Nope.
So many times I just want to say, you know what, man? I'm done.
And you make it as far as the comic store, and then you're done, right?
I know you're right.
You're like, oh, I gotta go home and make dinner.
Oh man, I'm like, come on. This is sad. I'm like, I'm almost 40. I'm like, damn. I look back and the things I missed, things I still want to do. It's like shit.
You're almost 40. Oh, the
Exactly.
days.
Yeah. I still go to shows. I don't go to obviously as much
Yeah.
as I used to, but I still do go. I mean, I go a couple times a year to the bar and I see a show and I just get fucking annihilated. When my wife
That's
was
the part
pregnant,
Yeah, that's the part I can't do anymore.
when my
No.
wife was pregnant still, I went to see this band Weed Eater and never drink with a band called Weed Eater. I sat
Oh
and
my
drank with them
gosh.
before they went on stage.
Uh,
And then afterwards we drank some more and I finally made it home somehow, passed out on the floor.
God.
And she was like, oh my God, what have I done? Who is this person? As she tries to carry me to bed, and I completely trashed her place as I stumbled into bed. It was phenomenal. It was so great.
That's the night of the last 10 years.
And then,
oh,
but the thing is, it's like twice a year, you know what I mean? So you still got to have that outlet,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So I still
just-
try to
man.
go. And I
I
still
can't-
try to go. Like, we have a new place now that, well, it's not new. The Windsor is what it's called. And it's kind of a dive bar. It replaced the Albert because the Albert doesn't exist anymore. But it's a lot of those same people from the Albert days now who are just old and gray and fat like me. And we all just go to the Windsor and get hammered and see bands again. It's the same kind of thing. So,
That's cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. See, if I go to a show, it has to be somebody worthwhile to me now. Like, I don't go just to go and see random bands anymore. It has to be like a Foo Fighters show for me to go see. Or,
yeah.
But I don't know. Sometimes those bands that are obviously unknown, there's something inspiring when
Oh
I'm there.
yeah, no, I
Absolutely.
agree.
You know what it is?
It's
It's
just-
weird. Maybe it's because
Yeah.
of there was a time where, guys, I think that's where I got kind of sick of it, where I lived and breathed music. Practice, practice, practice. It was practice at home, practice with my friends, practice at school, after school, practice with my jazz teachers. It was nonstop. And then it was people shoving things in my face. Oh, you want a scholarship? You gotta, here for auxiliary percussion. Go to Cuba for a month and play with this band. It's like I got to a point where I just lost it. I said, "Fuck you, I'm done."
Yeah.
I couldn't no more, and I just got kind of grossed out. And
Yeah.
then when I walk back into those unknown gigs, something just I get overwhelmed with, like, oh my gosh, I'm like, I know this feeling, I love it, I miss it. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Not being there and partying, being on stage and performing.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
See,
Well, and I think that's a big part of it, right? It's that nostalgia. You're seeing these people start out in these clubs, and you're seeing these bands, and they're not polished. And those days were fucking amazing.
It was so easy.
Yeah.
No pressure.
Yeah.
It's like, I broke my drum skin. Oh, who gives a fuck? Turn the snare upside down. Boom. Everyone's like freaking out, laughing. It's like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
The first show that we played where my mom actually came to see us, it was a battle of the bands, and it was this little punk rock band that we played in. We got our entire set, we got booed the entire set.
Yes.
We did the whole set.
Nice.
And every band was allowed to have an encore. So just like a week before, I had written a song that was like 10 minutes fucking long. And I'm like, guys,
beautiful.
we're doing that song. We're doing it. So we did this song. And at this point, people are like throwing shit at us. The singer has got the microphone and he's fighting with the sound man. One of the other guys has lit a joint on stage. One of the guys lit a joint on stage. We finished the set. We trashed the fucking set. We trashed everything. It wasn't our drum kit. We trashed everything. And it was phenomenal. It was absolutely phenomenal. We were never allowed back. The next battle of the bands, like a month later, we changed the name of the band and we played again, and it was fantastic.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But that kind of like unbridled, just like you were saying, Travis, like we didn't give a shit. It was fun. We had like 5 of our friends in the crowd. It was more for us. We just did it. We didn't care. We didn't stop. It was so great. It was so much fun.
Yeah. What's cool for me right now, my eldest kid, he likes music, but isn't really into music. I mean, he's a fabulous singer, but doesn't rock and roll, whatever, but my daughter, who has been drumming for a while now, she is really into music. She's really into the harder stuff, which just blows my mind. I mean, she's a huge Tool head. And so now, she's going to be 16 next month. So this year I've started eyeballing, okay, we need to hit some real rock and roll shows. What sucks around here, we're starting to get a budding music scene in the town that I live in again, but it's all bars, and she has zero access. I mean, I've personally gone to the bars and go, hey, is there a way I can sneak her in on the side that she can, that I can, swear on my life, sign a contract that says she's not going to drink or whatever, so she can do, because of course the licensing people aren't going to allow that for nothing. So there's no opportunity for her to go see anything local and small, live wise and whatnot. So now I'm like going, okay, we're gonna find some of these other big bands to go to and whatnot. Because I'm like Scott, I didn't get to go see anything until after I was basically out of the house. My first rock and roll show was Metallica, Justice for One, and the Cult was opening up for them. And I was going to see the Cult because I was a big Cult fan.
Shit.
Metallica, I was like, whatever. I, don't know a whole lot about Metallica other than they're heavy metal. Show up to the concert, and the place wasn't a very big place, and Metallica had everything there as far as ampage went and whatnot. It's the first show I've ever been to, and I'm literally standing there in front of the speakers, and it is so loud that my shirt is physically moving. I mean, it's going like this with every boom. Awesome. It was an incredible show. My ears rang for almost a week. I'm sure that was the beginning of my ear loss, but I loved every second of it. Then I started going to all the small stuff I could get to and whatnot. But that was the first big rock show. And I would like to get my daughter to go earlier than not be robbed of that experience early on. So.
Hey, Travis, after you saw Metallica, after you saw that show, did it motivate you to go out and buy their albums and stuff?
No. It still didn't. I like that music, but it's not. I don't. I mean, I could listen to it in small doses with everybody else around me who had it, but I didn't feel the need to have it myself. I went and bought every Cult album there was after that. Even though what's funny is, of course, that was what the hell was the name of that album? That was the
Cult.
Yeah, that was the album that had
Sanctuary?
Yeah, no, that was the album that had Firewoman on it and whatnot. So it was more rock and roll. They had a different producer on that album, so it was.
So you got to see Matt Sorum on drums. Was he the drummer at the time?
Yeah.
Wow.
So it was a smoother, more rock and roll, as opposed to like if you go back to She Sells Sanctuary and stuff like that, where it was a little more arty, kind of a thing. But I mean, it was good. It was weird seeing them because they played everything faster because everyone was there for Metallica. So it was
so they sped the tempo up. Right?
So they upped the tempo on everything. It was like, wait a second. I mean, I know live music isn't like the record clearly, and that's fine because I'm there to see live, not just listen to the record reproduced. But everything was a lot faster. I mean, it was a lot faster. That whole concert experience was just nuts because we're standing outside in the big huge crowd. Everybody's calm, everything's fine. And then all of a sudden the cops showed up because they decided they needed extra security. And of course, as soon as the cops showed up, they started puffing their chests up and polishing their badges. So people started throwing shit at them. And then it got really scary, kind of a thing. But so,
we almost got into a fight with Dinosaur Jr.
No.
The band?
Yeah, the band. They were playing a little club here. I remember I was still underage. But I was drinking heavy at 18. And the guy, the guitar player, man, it took 20 minutes to tune his guitar. 20 minutes. He was like tuning his guitar for 20 minutes. And it's like, you could tell it was done on purpose. And my friends go up to me, he's like, hey man, you think he's doing it on purpose? I'm like, yeah, I think he's fucking doing it on purpose. And everyone's like, all mumbling the same shit. Motherfuckers doing it on purpose. It was like, all of a sudden, the whole crowd just grabs their shit and says, start swearing shit and start throwing stuff at the stage. And he dissed us bad. He's like, I thought you Canadians supposed to be polite.
Not in Kitchener, no way.
And he starts playing the Canadian national anthem on his guitar. And all out of tune on purpose. Then he and I was like, okay, what the fuck's going on with this guy? Then he starts changing it to the American national anthem. It's like, what? And then that's it. He goes, all right, good night, guys. It was nasty. Nasty. They opened up for Rainbow Bump Monkeys, who at the time, they were called Rainbow Bump Monkeys, but it was actually Finger 11.
Yeah.
We went to see Finger 11. They were a college band, but I think they're big in the States now. I don't know. But yeah, I remember that day.
It's ridiculous.
I'm like, this motherfucker's doing it on purpose, man. Like, what the hell?
That's funny.
Yeah, a lot of cool experiences. But yeah,
totally.
That was an example of a band. Like, because I'm not to go see bands, I was always motivated. It's like, I'm gonna check out their album. I obviously know who they are, but that was one band. I was like, fuck you, I ain't buying your album, man. I'm not motivated to buy your album.
I did that for a lot of opening bands. Like, there's one opening band in particular that I saw. They're probably the band I've seen the most, just because they opened for everybody. Called Hot Rod Circuit. And they for real, it was one summer I saw them like 6 times opening for different bands. And by the third time I was like, okay, you guys, I get it. I will buy your shit.
You're a professional opener.
Yeah, and they have been forever. And actually I just heard they're getting back together. I was like, oh, you're going to open for this time.
I know, exactly. Putting the band back together. I'm opening up for it or whatever.
They're really good. I think they're excellent. They just never got a shot at big commercial success, or even in like the punk scene at the time. They didn't blow up like everybody else they were opening up for.
Yeah.
Well, that goes to show how much of it's luck too, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Or just the one right person. Because I've seen people that are just absolutely outstanding. They kind of have their own unique thing, but just can't quite.
They don't get that push.
Can't quite figure out how to get over that bubble, and you can only. Well, everybody's performed here, right? It's hard. I mean, it's fun,
Yeah.
but if you want to take it serious as like an occupation, it's hard. And you can only do that for so long before you kind of like go, you know what, I gotta, I gotta go do whatever else I'm gonna do with the rest of my life, or do a different band or whatever. And so it just never quite happens. But there's been some stuff I've seen that is just like, man, and they can just never figure out how to get over that hump to the next level of being able to really survive on being an artist.
That's got to be hard too. Like I when I was a teenager, sure, I had dreams of being in a band and touring the world and all that. But like as you get older, you just kind of realize like I don't think I'd be able to tour at all. Like even just around Michigan, like just to drive from place to place.
Oh, it's tough, man.
You know what I mean? And then to do like even just a countrywide tour. Fuck that. Like I just couldn't do it. And then you have a family, you get married, have a kid. Like I wouldn't be able to be away for that long. All those dreams just fade real quick.
So everybody should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Absolutely everybody.
Yeah,
but especially the bad brains.
There you go.
That one kills me so much. You don't know. That one kills me the most, I think.
Well, I can't tell you how many interviews I've watched or listened to or whatever, and somebody, even people like Courtney Love are like, Captain Beefheart. I'm just saying, just all the different random people that will drop that name. It's like, well, that's cool. I get it, but I'm just saying, it's just all the different random people that will throw that name out there, and they're still sitting around not.
Yeah, that's because
they're nuts.
Honestly, who knows Captain Beefheart? You know what I mean?
Right.
Oh, man, tons of people know Captain Beefheart.
Right, but throw that name out to most of the population.
But
and they'd be like, who?
But then we go back to why are people in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, right? Okay, some people should be getting in based on fame. Some people should be getting in based on the influence or
Agreed. Yeah.
Or originality of what they're doing.
Yeah, originality for sure. Yeah.
Okay, 26 years eligible.
Captain Beefheart?
Yeah, nominated. No one's ever brought them up for nomination. What's up with that? I don't know.
It depends on who they're handing out ballots to.
Well, yeah. Well, the nominations. Their little group. Their little group is the one that does the nominating. Yeah. The big group does the. So who is that little group? Who are they?
Exactly.
It's the editor-in-chief of Rolling Stone since day one. Wenner, I think. I don't know. And two other critic writers. It's three people. That's the council.
But you think if like Frank Zappa got in, and you think if like Tom Waits got in, those same people who were kind of pimping those guys would have. One of them must have said fucking Captain Beefheart at one point.
Well, right. Frank Zappa's more of a household name than Beefheart.
For sure, but I mean Frank Zappa and Beefheart were like two peas in a pod. They were
exactly.
I know.
Sort of thing. Like, so somebody would have said Frank Zappa and Captain Beefheart at some point. You'd think.
I know. I don't know, man.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Yeah.
Well, we just need to open up our own Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
That's right.
I'm down.
All noise bands.
I'm gonna reinduct Kiss as an honor. To say,
you have to have a majority vote for this. I'm just wondering.
To say, I'm opening up Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, guys. By the way, you're going in first time. No, I'm joking.
And then send a memo out to Red Hot Chili Peppers saying, "Go fuck yourself."
Yeah, I'll say, leave your butler at home. I ain't inducting that fucker. It's like so sad, man. Jesus. I'm gonna put in Duran Duran with New Order. Depeche Mode. Depeche Mode. Fuck, man, those guys. I love those guys. Oh well.
Well, and again, I mean that's a good thing. Like you guys were saying about Joy Division before. I was never into that style of music, but how often have I heard people say all of those names? For fucking ever, how much of an influence they were. You know what I mean? Like, all of those bands, even though I was never into it, I totally see they should be in there.
Yeah. Pioneers, influential. That should be a category that they should consider.
The sole consideration.
Yep. Right up there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
Nope.
what do you expect when it's a group of critics, right? That's their job.
Yeah, exactly.
is
Yeah, exactly.
Looking
Well,
at album sales and charts.
Just like if we picked who it was, there'd be other people that'd be sitting around going, "What the hell were those guys thinking when they
Oh
picked?"
wait, yeah,
bands?"
they would probably question your taste, not mine.
Ah,
Why aren't the Backstreet Boys in?
Oh, that's Scott. Scott's on the council.
Oh God. Could you imagine
God.
if I came up? Oh, if I
There you
came
go.
up with my
See, he's
own
crashed
rock
his
and roll?
computer. I knew it was gonna happen.
What the hell's going on? Okay, that's weird. Doesn't want to stay. Oh well.
Perfect.
All right. That was a good discussion. I think we got it all out of our system. What do you think, guys?
For now, maybe.
Yeah.
until next year.
Right? Till we see who comes out next year.
Yep, until next year.
I'll be watching this year's festivities. And I'll get
Journey.
back to you guys.
I won't.
Journey.
Yep.
Oh, wait a minute. There's a chance that Steve Perry doesn't talk to Journey. They don't get along. So they don't know if who's going to perform at the show. Is it going to be Journey with the fake Steve Perry, or is Steve Perry going to join them on stage? Because there's some issues there. Both are touring, playing the same songs, but not with each other. It's
Right.
interesting.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah,
Funny or sad?
yeah, you're
That's
right. It
the
is
other.
sad
That's
because
the other side to being the whole rock and roll star and dream and whatnot. I mean, I'm sure they're getting to it because they love to still perform, and that's why they keep doing it. But man, when I can see people that I knew used to fill arena-sized places are now playing the casino.
Casino. Yeah, that's so funny.
I mean, good for them. I mean, part of me is like, good for them if they're still wanting to do it. You know, if they're not like desperate for cash because somewhere along the way, either a manager screwed them or whatever. It's just what they want to do. Cool. Cool. I mean, that's great. And it's great that you can still go to see them and whatnot. But at the same time, it's like, it's part of me just thinks that, man, that's sad.
Yeah.
Oh, that happened to me. Who was it? I'm trying to think.
And I don't want to go see them. I mean, bands that I would have wanted to see when I was a kid, I'm like, no, I don't need to. I don't need to see them now because I don't need to see. I don't want to be bummed out by seeing somebody that's depressed, has been kind of a thing or whatnot. So
Yeah.
Oh my God, who was it again? I'm trying to think. It was at Niagara Falls. It was outdoors. Oh my God.
I'm a big Blue Oyster Cult fan also, and I got to see them quite a while ago, clearly, and I was blown away by how short they were. These guys
Really?
are all like 5 foot. And I know that doesn't matter or anything, but it was just really alarming how tiny these guys all were.
Because it's funny. I had seen. I worked at the mall by us, and Green Day was coming to town back in the day. I think it was American Idiot, that record. And I worked across. I worked across the hall.
If it was
from,
Dookie, I'd be like, right on.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. But I worked at a pretzel store right across the hall from Hot Topic, and I saw Trey Cool walk into that Hot Topic. So I closed down the store real quick because I was the only one who was working. I walked in there to see if it was actually him, and it was. And then Mike Dirnt walked in as well.
Who?
The bassist.
Oh, I thought you said something else. I thought you said Fred Durst.
Yeah, that's what I thought as well. Yeah.
No, Mike Dirnt.
Fred Durst walked in, you'd be like freaking out, man.
No, I'd punch him in the fucking But I was talking to them, and it was crazy because, I mean, when you see them on stage, or you see them on TV, or you look at them in albums, they're these larger-than-life
Yes.
type, but Trey Cool was shorter than me.
Right.
Mike Dirnt was wiry as hell.
Oh my
And
God.
then, actually, I ended up getting backstage passes from talking to them that night. And
Oh my God.
when we saw them play, and they were playing with Blink-182, actually. And
Okay, that's fucking awesome.
during Blink's set, I got to stand on stage.
What?
So I
Nice.
Holy
it
shit!
was crazy because, well, I mean, at the time, I forget the record Blink just put out, but whatever, it's Blink-182. But the thing is, like, I'm on the side of the stage and I get to see him play, and it's awesome. But the most awesome thing, the thing I remember the most, is just looking out at the crowd
Mm-hmm.
and just being like, God,
It's like, God, that's how John
Like-
feels.
whatever. Yeah, it's like, can you imagine being those guys?
Oh, I got a douchebaggy story. When I was 19, I was a fake hipster drummer nerd. I went to go see. You remember? I don't know, Terrence. You remember Edgefest style concert?
Oh yeah,
outside?
yeah.
I went there, got free tickets, and I remember Alanis Morissette was really hot at the time. It was like that first album, Jagged Little Pill.
Yeah.
No, she was huge. She sold like 20 million albums from that year, man. It was crazy.
I know.
And I remember the drummer, man. I was like fucking fascinated with the drummer the whole time in the videos. I'm like, that drummer's
Taylor
awesome.
Hawkins.
I love that fucking drummer. I love that drummer. That guy's wicked. I love the way he plays. I love his feeling. Man, I swear to God, I'm standing there. I'm walking around because I'm bored. There's a lot of these shitty bands playing. I'm walking around the gate, looking for something to drink, like frozen water bottle. Drummer, Taylor Hawkins, standing right there.
Yep.
I'm like, holy shit. And he's looking at me. He's like, what on, man? What's going on? I'm like, fuck, man. You're like Taylor Hawkins, dude. You're awesome. And he's like, hey, thanks. Yeah, thanks so much. I'm like, yeah, you play for the band Sexual Chocolate. And he goes, how the fuck do you know that? I see. I was like, so fucking, I was awesome.
And then you pulled out a Nardwar and said, "We
I
got
pulled
it."
it. Exactly. I pulled it. And he's like, what? I'm like, yeah, man, you're wicked, man. They're so cool. You're playing with Alanis is fucking awesome, I didn't talk shit. Like, I was like saying, oh, it's awesome. I love it, But all of a sudden, like 2 years later, boom, I see him on the video to Monkey Wrench. I'm like, what? No way. I'm like,
Yeah.
awesome. But yeah, that's he's like one of my top, just because I met him.
Right.
But I do
Sure.
I love his style. It's so, I don't know if it's his style. It's kind of like Dave Grohl in the studio and then him live. I don't know, but I guess he plays on the record now. I don't know how it works.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, I know it was Dave Grohl for a few albums.
The first two.
So yeah. Do you know that I know a lot of songs. Those are like nice challenging songs back in the day. I used to like challenge myself to some of his tunes. But yeah, he's great. But
Isn't that funny how like
that
your
was cool.
opinion, like gets wavered when not saying that you didn't like him before you met him, but like
it's
isn't
better.
it funny how like if you meet somebody you're like,
Even better.
yeah,
Especially when they're cool.
right. I mean,
Yeah.
if they're complete dicks, you're like, well, fuck you.
It
Well,
wrecks
you
it
meet somebody
forever,
that-
right?
Like Matthew Good. I wanted to punch his fucking nose off, man. I hate that. Oh God, what a dick! What a dick! I'm like, seriously, man? Like, you fucking suck. You had no right to talk to me like that. Oh my God, he was such a dick.
Well, that's a bummer because I always liked his stuff.
I know, but that day,
When he-
I
in
guess
the
this is
band?
the day, right? Yeah.
Well,
oh,
see, that's the other thing. I'm always kind of that way. I mean, just like comic book experiences, whatnot, meeting creators and stuff. I never,
Well, there-
unless they are beyond awful, like sign your book and then make you pay to get it back.
Yeah.
If they're that kind of douchebag, then I burn them down. But I never take anybody on one experience with them because they're meeting, especially if they're like meeting thousands of people all at the same time and whatnot.
Yeah.
I'm
Fucking
sure you
tiring,
got to
yeah.
be exhausted. You're tired of hearing the same shit from everybody, whatever that is. So one time, I always cut you slack. If you're that way every time I meet you, then I know it's
Yeah.
you. And there are creators, I know it's them. There's no doubt in my mind. It's not me. It's not they're having a bad day. They're always, a crap. And it's the same. I mean, to
Mhm.
some degree, I figure it's the same way with those kind of people too. Especially when, lots of times they're just wanting to do their own thing and they don't want
Yeah.
some, raving lunatic fan, hopping around them kind of a thing. So
I was there with a few girls. They wanted to meet him backstage. They got the green light. Security went back there, said, you got, some fans, some diehard fans are here. And the security came back out and said, yeah, girls, come on in. And you're like, and I'm like, heck, I'm not going to stay here. Come on, take me. I don't give a shit about the guy, but like, it's cool. I want to be backstage. I'm never backstage. So I went, whatever. and they're waiting to meet him, you know, hanging out. There's like tons of Canadian bands. There was Treble Charger was actually awesome. They were hanging out with me. Treble Charger was wicked. I think the bass player kind of liked me because he was like being all weird. but it was awesome. But it was like cool. It was like a nice, you know, Canadian content concert, you know.
Yeah.
And then the girls are waiting to go meet him. Then he comes out, and you're like, oh, you know, back then, you know how we had the disposable cameras, like.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So it's like one shot and that's it, right? Like, oh, come on, hi, Matthew, can we take a picture, you know, and stuff. And he's like, what the fuck are you doing here? Get the fuck out of here. Just like that. Just like that. And he goes, get the fuck out of my, like.
To all of
freaking
you
out.
or just you?
Like everyone in the hallway, like fans
Wow.
and stuff.
Wow.
And then Triple Charger guy standing beside me, the bass player. And just like, whoa, what's going on with Matt Tripp, man? What's going on with that guy? I'm like, I don't know. He's your friend. He's like, fuck that. I'm like, holy smokes. Freaking out. Just livid. Like, get the fuck out of here, man. Fuck you guys. It's like Bat Trip or something. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. And I'm like, fuck. And then I looked at the girls I was with. They were like really nice. They were awesome friends of mine. I'm like, holy shit. And they're like, what an asshole. It's like, I'm going to fucking go to the car and smash all the CDs now. Screw him. But then after like you chill out, it's like exactly like, yeah, you never know. He probably got a phone call that's like, you know, some family emergency or some shit went down or, you know, something. We don't know.
Yeah, totally. Everybody's got a bad day at work. It's just the way it goes.
Yeah. But I never held him in high regard anyway, so I was like, yeah, no loss here.
We had Emily and I had a really cool experience once. We went to the Palace. I think, God, I'm gonna sound like a fan, but I think it was another Green Day show.
We found you out.
I know, right? But the opener was Jimmy Eat World, and that's Emily's favorite band. That's my wife's favorite band. And so we watched Jimmy Eat World play. It was awesome. They played a really great set.
Did they play that one song?
They did, dude.
I only know one song from them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Anyway, they finish up. Green Day gets on stage. They start playing, and we're standing in the back. And I look to my left, and there's the lead singer for Jimmy Eat World. He's just coming out in the crowd and watching Green Day play.
Cool.
And I tell my wife, I was like, "Holy shit! Do you see who that is?" She's like, "Oh my god!" I was like, "Let's go talk to him. Go say something to him." Because she had like this. She still does, I'm sure. They had this crazy crush on him. She's like, I can't talk to him. I was like, come on. I pull her over there and I start talking to him. I'm like, hey, really great set. Love your new album. You guys are really great, you know. And I was like, you're my wife's favorite band. And he was like, yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Green Day's really good too. And my wife, I said something about we came just to see you because, you know, whatever. And he goes, yeah, Green Day's really good too. And my wife looks at him, and she like the only thing she said to him was like, "No, just you." Said that right to him. And like I've never seen her starstruck or like just in like this, like just in awe of being around somebody. It was so funny, and I still make fun of her for it. I really hope she's listening to me talk about this right now.
I'm actually so jealous of my wife. She's seen so many bands, amazing bands, met so many bands. She has set lists. She has picked Stevie Nicks.
Oh, that's cool.
Stevie Nicks guitar pick.
Wow.
She has. Oh man, that's the only thing I'm jealous.
See, I've never gotten like a set list or a guitar pick. The one time I got anything was a drumstick from
Green Day.
Some local band. Shut up.
Killing me.
God, now I'm lost.
A drumstick from a local Green Day.
Yeah, just from
cover band.
from some local
Green Day cover
band.
band. They went to go see.
Now you found me out. That was the one song we learned how to play in my band.
Which one? Basket Case?
I'm joking. It wasn't actually a good song.
I actually like playing that song.
That actually the
It's a
that
fun
album
song
is-
to play.
that album's really
It's a good
They
album.
just
That's a
turned-
wicked
they just
album.
turned to shit after a while.
After that American Idiot stuff, I didn't like too much. It's just too
Yeah,
Like-
I didn't.
Yeah.
I wasn't a big fan. of
Not
American
into
Idiot,
that.
and then
style.
after that, just didn't.
I'll walk
What was it?
along
Was that
this
21st century?
road.
I guess I'm like kind of a snotty elitist and whatnot. They
Yeah, you are.
lay claim to punk, but they're not
Yeah.
punk, and that's what bugs the shit out of me. I guess
Exactly.
is what it is. I mean, all more power to them to figure out how to be successful at what they're doing or whatnot.
Exactly.
But you know, and I understand they work their way up through
Mhm.
whatever, but
Yeah,
clearly they sold something along the way to you know to be what they are. So I mean,
Longevity, and success, it's unbelievable.
you know, so I mean, yeah, I can't take any of that away from them. Clearly, they're where they are for a reason
I
and
don't-
whatnot.
I don't know anything about them before Dookie. Like, do they actually have like?
they had 2 albums before that.
Oh, I have no idea.
One,
See, I
one
don't.
called Kerplunk, which came out
yeah.
before that, and then another one called 1039 Slap Happy Hours.
No idea.
Was
I don't even
the
know how
album
it sounds.
On Kerplunk, they have actually some of the original sounding songs off of Dookie.
Mm.
So I mean,
like
they sound
demo type
more
versions
like,
almost?
Yeah, it's almost like demos
Yeah.
hmm
off that record. That's when I first heard him was Kerplunk, and then Dookie came out, and I really liked him a lot. And then Insomniac came out, and I still liked him.
Yeah, it was okay.
And then Nimrod came out, and I was like, what?
Oh, which
This-
one's that?
They just
Time
kept
of Your
getting
Life.
yeah,
They
they
got
just kept getting a
lighter
little
and
more
lighter.
polished, and a little more. I don't know,
Corporate.
homogenized. I guess. Yeah, just a little more.
The
I attribute that to their radio success and their video success.
Yeah.
and their
Yeah,
fan
at the time.
base.
MTV was playing videos like crazy from them.
Yeah.
I mean, they had 5 singles off of Dookie. So
That's true.
when that happens, of course your style of playing is going to change when you have commercial success like that.
Yeah.
And then when they came out with Nimrod and that track "Time of Your Life,"
Oh yeah, there you
that-
go. That's the one I'm talking about.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, but-
and that was the softest song they had done at that time.
Right, and that song showed up in like every TV show and every commercial under the sun.
It was
It's like,
on. It was
oh
on the
my
Seinfeld final episode. Travis.
God, was it?
So,
Yeah, it was.
there
It
you
was
go.
like a. I don't know. My wife was watching some sort of ER show at the time, and it was one of the cancer patients is singing it or whatever. I mean, I was just like, oh my God.
Right.
Yeah.
So
And then I actually think that record came out in '99. I want to say something along that around then, late '90s, and that's when I was in high school and graduating.
Oh, so everyone used that song at the end.
So yeah,
It's the credit rolling song.
exactly.
Not the
97.
credit rolling song. It's a song that
97.
it's a song that you edit pictures with.
It's everybody's
Yeah,
class song.
class
Yeah.
song, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. My class song was and I will walk 5,000 miles and I. That was ours.
Hell, I don't even know. I can't remember what mine was.
Mine was actually Freebird. So we had some rednecks in my school.
Nice.
They picked Freebird. I was like, oh, okay.
When I wake up. Na, 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 na. I was like, what the? That was cool. Like just the song of the time.
I didn't even have like our class song wasn't even the song of the times.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm like saying. Yeah. What would you guys use?
What would I have used?
No, I'm just
I
thinking
forget-
of like that represents your time, like
2000 was when I graduated.
probably some
I don't
Backstreet
know.
Boys
It
song.
would have been some
NSYNC.
Backstreet Boys that I didn't like.
No, I'm serious.
It would have been.
It's like
Come on, we're all waiting. We're all waiting.
I know.
I'd have been
Waiting.
disappointed. Either way,
Can't find it. Oh well.
it probably would have been some Blink 182 thing.
That's cool. I like
I would.
their early.
Dude Ranch was really good. I like that song. Damn it.
Oh man, the same place where we saw Matthew Good. There's a bunch of local bands that went in there. They had one drum kit, one bass guitar, one guitar, and it was like it kind of was like a battle of the bands, and everybody that went up, they're obviously a band, they rehearsed, was playing that type of style from Dude Ranch. That
Oh yeah,
type
the little
of-
pop punk.
oh, but it was but the tempo was like double.
Oh
I was
really?
like, holy shit, it's actually pretty good. You know, like the drummer, I was like, holy fuck, I was actually intimidated because that style I wasn't used to. You know, I'm like, holy smokes. So I remember going home and trying to practice it, and I remember getting that album to practice it, and I remember listening to the tempo. I'm like, I got to speed this up a bit because it was really, really tight, and you know, it was different. It was something they were doing with the hi hat that I liked.
Oh yeah.
Like they were like a wash on it, a wash, but it was the tight wash. I was like, oh man. I just remember that when you brought it up, when you brought up Dude Ranch.
I remember picking up that record and my dad being like, I don't know if I want you to have that, because he looked at the little sticker on the front that said like featuring the song. Damn it.
Really?
Yep.
Holy smokes.
My dad was like, I don't know. I think your mom.
I had a
would be
Two
upset."
Life Crew cassette tape, man. When I was a kid. And we played it in our school at lunch. I remember in
Wow.
grade 6. It was grade 6. It was like we would all bring a tape every, we'd all take turns bringing a tape. And I
Yeah.
told my friends, hey man, I got Two Life Crew. I just got the cassette tape. And they're like, bring it in. I'm like, okay. So I brought it in, and like we're passing around the cassette. They're passing around because look at the cover, because it was them like this, and there was like girls standing above them.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah,
what I
I
mean?
remember that.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they're like, oh, you gotta put it in. Oh man, you gotta put it in. I was freaking out. I'm like, all right. The bell
And
goes
we were-
off.
And I was a kid, it was risque to bring Hell's Bells from AC/DC to the school.
Yeah.
Was pushing the
That's
envelope.
funny.
So,
Pop in the tape.
yeah.
You know that thing in the beginning?
Yeah.
Oh crap. All of a sudden, oh, me so horny.
Yeah.
And it was playing. It was like, we're all we're all bopping our heads. And all of a sudden, all you hear is, my teacher smashed the cassette player, man. With my tape inside. Oh, man. I didn't say nothing. Oh, my.
Whose tape was this?
I was like,
Yeah.
I should have known. Yeah.
Yeah.
But back then, everyone was like that. Back then, it's like everyone had awesome stuff like that. Our parents never really got involved. But it was so cool. I remember the me so hard, and then smash.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
I
I
love
remember suckering my dad into getting me the first Korn CD too. My parents had gotten divorced not too long before that,
those days.
and I think actually maybe it was a while before that, but I remember having like my first serious talk with my dad about it, and him being like, "Well, let's go to Harmony House, and we'll walk around and talk about it," because we were both into music, and I think that song Adidas had came out,
Yeah. All day I dream about sex.
Yeah.
and I was I was big into it at the time, and
Yeah, I like that tune because I used to love Adidas.
yeah, and I picked it up, and of course it had like the parental advisory sticker on it, and I was like, God, I really
Damn,
like this."
Tipagore.
And
Yeah.
my dad was like,
That's right.
do you want this?
I
I
remember
was
that.
like, yeah, I really do. He was like, okay, well, when you get home, use a marker to black this out so your mom doesn't see it. So I got home, took a shot, and blacked out the freaking parental advisory warning.
Travis just triggered a memory for me when he brought up Tipper Gore. I right away went to D. Snyder and my
Yeah.
Stay Hungry vinyl of Twisted Sister. I
Yeah.
remember
So good.
I have that.
telling my uncle if he can buy me it. And he's like, what, this? There's like mad Portuguese accent. I'm like, yeah, man, they're awesome. It's like that. We're not going to take it, guys.
Right.
He's like, oh, I like that song. I buy. He bought it for me.
That cover too. That cover is so.
It's so
Yes.
great.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yes.
I love it. I brought it home.
Yeah.
And my mom was, I gave it to my dad because my dad had the record player. Even to this day, this is such an interesting, the way my father and I collect. My father obviously has vinyl. He has a record player. My records that I buy, I actually keep it with my dad. Still had that mentality.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I still keep it with my father
That's cool.
because he loves that stuff. So I remember bringing it home. Well, my uncle brought it home for me and gave it to me, and I showed my mom and dad. They're like, "What is this?" You know, they're freaking out. I'm like, "Oh, it's that We're Not Gonna Take It guy. Oh, I like that song. Put it in." My dad pops it in. It's like blaring. I'm like such a little kid. Like, this is awesome. Oh, God.
Yeah.
Stupid phone. But yeah, that was awesome.
fun.
So I just love that. But you're right. I remember those that trial, Travis.
Yeah, it was huge.
Yep. Yeah.
It was a big one.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Yeah. My first rock album was The Wall. Pink Floyd, The Wall.
Oh, nice.
And,
Holy smokes.
and I got it when it came out, and I'm
Cool.
old, but I'm old, but I'm not that old. And the reason I wanted it is I saw a commercial for the movie, and I remember seeing the kids walking and falling into the meat grinder, and I'm like, I don't know what the hell this is, but I have to have it. It was like I'm just thinking this is like horror show on a record, and I'm like, this is creature feature, early Saturday morning show just on a record. And so I kept saying, oh, I want that. And I got it for Easter. It was at Easter. And my parents about completely lost it when I dropped and put that thing on. It was awesome. And that made me love it even more.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's so cool.
To me, that is like, right? Isn't that one of the classic pure rock and roll moments is you put that on, you put it on, and your parents lose their shit over it. And you're like, this is gold. It doesn't matter what it is. If they hate it, that means it has to be perfect.
Yeah,
So,
totally.
oh, it was like, yes. But I didn't get another rock and roll album for a long time after that. Until I could save up my own cash to get it. Nope. Didn't get any more after that. My parents wouldn't buy it anymore. They felt suckered somehow, like they didn't realize what they were getting. And
yeah, I didn't buy that many albums too, Travis. I didn't buy too many vinyls. I think in my youth, I only bought or asked for 3 vinyls, but the rest was just cassettes.
Yeah.
And CDs.
I remember the first 2 vinyls I bought were at like a White Elephant sale or like a garage sale, but a bunch of people selling. I picked them up for $0.25 a piece, and it was Dark Side of the Moon.
Oh, nice.
And Ziggy Stardust and the Sky from Mars.
Perfect.
Oh my God. Mine was A Christmas Carol, Mickey Mouse. I swear to God, that's the one I wanted when I was a kid.
Yeah. Right on.
I'm like, I wanted Christmas Carol by Mickey Mouse Disney.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Then I got older and I got a whole bunch of horrible music. I have a box. I have a box full of tragic things that I will show just for laughs, but would never actually put on my turntable again. Back in the day when I was a kid, Columbia Music House and whatnot, you could get on those record clubs where you remember that 10 records or 10 cassettes for for $1, and then
it was a penny.
Yeah, that was awesome. You get signed up on those things, and you'd have to pick, and there'd never be anything really very good on there. So you'd have all this. So I mean, that's where that Curly Heart CD. That's that Curly Heart album I showed you. That's where it comes from. I mean, I have some off-brand Billy Idol. I have some I own all the Village People. Men at Work. I mean, I have a whole bunch of crap. This is like, oh wow,
that's cool.
I don't get rid of it because it's part of my musical journey, but at the same time, I don't really pull it out and brag about it either because it's like,
Well, yeah, it's like me, Fat Boys, right? I was really into the beatbox Fat Boys. I didn't tell anyone, but I remember when I got my allowance, that's the first. I don't want to say anything. No one knows this, but that was like my first album that I actually got the day it was released. Was the soundtrack for Disorderly Orderlies.
Yeah.
By the Fat Boys. I know. Yeah. See, that's weird, but I liked it.
That's so funny. Like
I know, isn't that weird?
Because I can remember my first the first CD I waited to get.
I that's the one I was like, oh, it's out, because I was really, of course, this guy right here, Freddie. They had a song about Freddy Krueger. They would beatbox. What was it called? Yeah. Not Nightmare to My Street. That's Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. But they also did a Freddy. Get Ready for Freddy. They had a song like we all had. So I was like, man, these guys like Freddy, then they're fucking cool with me, man. They're cool with me. So yeah, it's sad. I know. It only lasts like 2 weeks in my deck, and I'm like, I'm done with this. It's like, where's my smashes, trashes, and hits? Kiss.
First CD I waited for to come out was a local band called the Suicide Machines, and it was their second album that came out. Because I picked up their first one, and I was like, "Oh my god, these guys are amazing!" They used to be called Jack Kevorkian and the Suicide Machines.
Holy smokes! Dr. Kevorkian.
Yeah.
That's
So they put out this album called Destruction by Definition. That was their first one. And then I started following them, but that was back, before the internet was a huge thing where you could find whatever you want, whenever you want. And it was all word of mouth. And then I found out they were dropping another album called Battle Hymns from the guy at Harmony House, he told me. And I was like, oh, dude, I'll be there. What day is it? I made my dad drive me there before we went on this trip for a weekend up to one of the Great Lakes. And I was like, you got to take me to Harmony House. I got to go there for the album. I picked it up, and I did nothing but listen to that CD the entire, the drive there, the entire weekend we were there. While we were camping, I went through, so many AA batteries on my Discman. It was ridiculous.
Oh, the last album I ever bought when I was a kid, because then I totally stopped buying albums, was KLF. With KLF, with that song, KLF Is Gonna Rock You.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And it had a Doctor Who. It had a Doctor Who thing on the B side, instrumental. Wow, wow. It was so awesome. And I remember using that to sample, because my friend Pietro, he had 2 Technics 1200s for DJing. And so he got me into DJ. He taught me. And I used to use that album. That was my first album that I would sample. The wow, wow, the Doctor Who song. That's why when I do that, when I used to do that, Who Likes Back Issues, Doctor Who, that's a throwback to my friend Pietro. Because that was the first sample we ever used on a song. It was a Doctor Who. I can't. Nice. I don't have that record. I wish I still had it. That's one record that if I ever find in wild, I'd be like, oh man, it'll bring back so many feels. But yeah, no big deal. KLF, right? KLF's Gonna Rock You. That tune. It was cool. I like the drums. It was pretty cool. Just weird tastes, weird things that would come into my mind of oh, I want to get this one. Yeah. And it's fuck. Weird.
I think I purged all of my guilty pleasures from back then. I don't think I have anything anymore. Just from I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't bear it. I might still have some cassettes in a box somewhere that are guilty pleasures, but records and stuff are long gone.
Oh God, I don't have
I've got boxes and boxes of cassettes of stuff like that.
Yeah, same with me. Yeah.
Because the first comic book store that used to be in my town, it was comic store, was a bookstore that became a bookstore, comic book store, and then it became a comic book store, record store / skate shop. And so they would they would buy used cassettes, and so they always have new cassettes in for a couple bucks. And so I would always, whatever random thing was on there, I would just pick up and grab as a way to experience different music and whatnot. And, and I don't know who was selling tapes there. Somebody had some pretty eclectic taste with selling tapes there, because I got all kinds of random stuff. Some of it really horrible stuff that, but other stuff that was fun and was, if nothing else, was informed different parts of what I like now and whatnot, if nothing else. But that was always awesome to be able to buy those cheap cassettes. Because if it sucked, you just threw it in a corner somewhere and whatever. But
we had a bookstore around here that used to sell cassettes, kind of the same deal. But I remember picking up Sepultura. I think their album was Rise.
Yeah.
And it's funny that we mentioned this, because literally 2 days ago I thought about that. I hadn't thought about this bookstore in forever. I hadn't thought about my cassettes in forever.
Yeah.
But I remember, I woke up, and I was like, God, that was a crazy dream. And I remember it being the cover of that Sepultura cassette I had. So I racking my brain the entire time trying to figure out what it was. And I actually had to go through. I went to this website that lists every metal band in existence. And I was like, I'm pretty sure the band started with an S. So I just start scrolling.
Yeah.
Come across Sepultura. I was like, oh my god, it's it. And like the light goes off, and I go onto YouTube and I look up some of the videos. I was like, oh my god.
I had a guy in my class, Rui, that was into Sepultura.
That's so funny.
This is like in grade 12. I'm like, dude, you're into what? Because you'd be drawing on his books. Sepultura. I'm like, what the fuck? Hey, John, they're good, man. Fucking good, man. Just go to my car and check it out. Smoke a joint and listen to them. I'm like, I don't do drugs.
On a Wednesday.
Yeah. I'm not gonna go to your car and smoke dope, man. Are you kidding me? I'm going back. I gotta go to class.
I want to study.
I gotta go to class, man.
In junior
It's
high,
like,
the
Mr.
guy.
DaCosta, you're late again. And go to the windows. It's like, holy. It's like you see this haze around my desk. Jeez. Oh, God.
We had a guy in junior high who was the Venom guy in class, right? So he had the back patch on his jean jacket, and he would just draw pentagrams all over his stuff, right? That's all. And he was just the one weird dude that people were kind of scared of. Couldn't quite know what he was doing, but he'd just draw pentagrams on shit all day long and Venom on his back patch.
Yeah, we had a guy like that too. We're like in grade 9, and he was like in our class, and he had a beard. He had a beard. I'm like, this guy failed like the 9th grade like 5 times. What's going on? It's like, ask him. Like, I'm not gonna ask him. You ask him. Like, the guy looks like my dad. He's just sitting there by himself, all quiet. He had a huge beard. And then finally went up to him to like, hey man, what's going on? It's like, no man. I'm like, you failed the class or what? Fuck no, man. I'm from St. Peter's. I'm like, holy fuck. This guy's my age? Holy shit. I swear to God, huge beard. Yeah, he wore construction boots.
Yeah.
Oh well, he was a great guy. I think.
Yeah,
he didn't
Venom
last
dude
too
was an
long.
awesome guy. He was the same thing. He was a super nice guy.
Yeah, it's not
Diff-
his fault that he hit puberty at the age of 10. Holy, I thought, holy, oh, scary, man. Well, you know, grade 9, I was like, you know, still. I didn't hit puberty grade 9. I was babyface. He's called me babyface on the sports teams. I was still a kid. Like, yeah, we're gonna hit the showers. Yeah, you guys go without me. Just gonna stay here. Just gonna. Yeah, I'll be in there in a minute, man. Yeah, you're right. I ain't taking a shower. But yeah, so that guy freaked me out. Like, can I borrow some of your pubes? I'm like, holy shit.
Just gluing my balls before shower.
I'm sorry. I'm just thinking of that guy right now.
Don't be
Oh,
sorry.
That story, like the Venom guy, reminded me of him.
Music, good times, good times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think mine is gonna die here. I'm looking at a 7%er on my computer here, so I think I'm gonna call it a night.
Yeah, man, me too. My wife's been home, and anyway, I've been ignoring her. She got in like 9:30. I've been seeing messages on my phone because I haven't been answering my phone because that's what I'm doing my hangout off of.
There you go. Well, thanks for having the hangout.
Thanks everybody.
Thanks for coming.
Always love bullshit with you guys, and music's awesome. So
Awesome.
Yeah.
Amazing.
despite the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Fuck
Yeah.
those guys.
Yeah.
Exactly. It was.
Same with the Oscars guys.
I still want an Oscar for bullshit, and I'm just saying, if I can get an
Yeah.
Oscar for bullshit, and I want one. So
Absolutely.
I'm just glad we could end the chat talking about John Smoothballs. That's
that's where we go. Exactly. Wow.
Oh god. All right, I'm gonna hit the
All right.
salad, guys. See you later.
Okay.
Thanks so much for chatting.
Have a great one. Thanks, Scott.
Later.
Peace.
Thanks,
Thank
Scott.
you guys. All right.
Yeah.
Bye.
Peace.